Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Michigan may be joining 11 other states that require a criminal conviction before any asset forfeiture. The Detroit Free Press reports that police and prosecutors will be prohibited from seizing cash and property from people accused of a crime until they are convicted on the charges, under a bill passed in the state Senate on Wednesday. The Free Thought Project reports that law enforcement seized more than $13 million in cash from civil asset forfeitures in 2017. Of the 6,662 cases, more than half did not involve someone convicted of a crime. In the report from the Free Thought Project, taking property from people who have been convicted of no crime sounds a lot like legalized robbery. California, Connecticut, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oregon, and Vermont are all states requiring a criminal conviction to strip someone of their rightful property. 3 states, North Carolina, New Mexico, and Nebraska, have abolished civil forfeiture entirely. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. The Pentagon is hoping to make telepathy a part of its arsenal in the near future. Activist Post reports it's the latest program of the Department for Advanced Research Projects Agency, known as DARPA. The Defense Department Research Office, tasked with developing breakthrough technologies and innovations for the U.S. Armed Forces. According to Defense One, DARPA is seeking to explore technologies that would link the brains and bodies of troops to a range of military applications through artificial intelligence, equip neural interfaces that allow troops to control machines with their thoughts alone. In its quest for unquestioned battlefield dominance and the minimization of troop losses, the U.S. military has long been attracted to the potential power that AI may unlock, and has spent billions upon billions of dollars in pursuit of autonomous and semi-automated weapon systems that bring to mind dystopian science fiction films like RoboCop and The Terminator. As the pool of candidates vying for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president continues to grow, so does a sustained and ongoing push to spread lies about them on social media, with one key aim being to sow division among progressive voters. That's according to an alarming political report published Wednesday. Citing analysis by and conversations with data scientists and digital campaign strategists, the outlet reported that researchers and others interviewed say they cannot conclusively point to the actors behind the coordinated activity, and it's unclear if they are rogue hackers, political activists, or, as some contend, foreign state actors such as Russia. One of the objectives of the activity is to divide the left by making the Democratic presidential primary as chaotic and toxic as possible. The anti-media reports that research by the pro-democracy tech firm Guardians.ai found that Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, as well as former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, appear to be the top targets. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
It's the Onion Radio News. A man on TV urges the mass purchase of Listerine. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In what is believed to be the widest-reaching appeal ever made by an individual on behalf of an oral hygiene aid, an unidentified man urged millions of people across the U.S. to purchase Listerine brand antiseptic mouthwash today. Experts are baffled as to why a person with the power to reach millions would choose to present an oral hygiene-related message. FCC spokesperson Grant Yarborough.
Well, this individual should be so obsessed with oral hygiene as to demand that several million bottles of Listerine be simultaneously purchased is baffling.
The man, described as a handsome, trustworthy-looking individual in his early 30s, emphatically stressed that Listerine should be purchased over other, inferior mouthwash brands. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. You can take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE is the number that you need. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
It's Patrick Bateman.
Wait, isn't that the murderer from American, what is it?
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
Whenever I'm wearing a suit, a three-piece suit and tie, that always brings up Patrick Bateman in me, so...
Okay, all right. So, anyway,
Vincent.
It's Vincent, yeah. So we got stuff to talk about here tonight. Apparently, there's actually a little bit of good news coming out of the Supreme Court in the United States. I got this story from my man Michael Hampton, and apparently the court has limited police powers to seize private property. I don't know if you heard about this story, Vincent, but they've ruled as of today that the Constitution places limits on the ability of states and localities to take and keep cash, cars, houses, and other private property used to commit crimes. The practice, known as civil forfeiture, is a popular way to raise revenue and is easily abused and has been the subject of widespread criticism across the political spectrum. In fact, we've seen state governments, a bunch of state governments, radically adjusting their laws to either, seriously limit civil asset forfeiture or remove it altogether, as I understand it. So maybe this is some acknowledgement from the Supreme Court that those states are on the right track. The court's decision will open the new door or a door to new legal arguments when the value of the property seized was out of proportion with the crimes involved. So in this case, the court sided with Tyson Timms, a small-time drug offender in Indiana who pled guilty to selling $225 worth of heroin to undercover police officers. He was sentenced to 1 year of house arrest and 5 years of probation and was ordered to pay $1,200 in fees and fines. State officials also seized his $42,000 Land Rover, which he had bought with the proceeds of his father's life insurance policy, saying he'd used it to commit crimes. The Supreme Court ruled the Eighth Amendment, which bars excessive fines, limits the ability of the federal government to seize property. And here's a shocker. This was a 9-0 decision, a unanimous decision for the Supreme Court. A lot of times you see split results out of the court, but in this case, they all agreed that the court ruled that the clause also applies to states under the 14th Amendment, one of the post-Civil War amendments. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, writing for eight of the justices, said the question before the court was an easy one. She said, quote, "The historical and logical case for concluding that the 14th Amendment incorporates the excessive fines clause is overwhelming." She said further that, quote, "For good reason, the protection against excessive fines has been a constant shield through Anglo-American history. Exorbitant tolls undermine other constitutional liberties. Excessive fines can be used, for example, to retaliate against or chill the speech of political enemies." Now, of course, we've seen many examples over time of people who have had their lives absolutely destroyed by these civil asset forfeiture laws. I can think of, for instance, the Fat Stuff store here in Keene, which I think was before your time, Vincent. You're in college here in Keene, New Hampshire, and originally you're from the Dartmouth, New Hampshire area.
No, not Dartmouth, New Hampshire. Probably one day they'll change it to be Dartmouth, New Hampshire, but the Upper Valley.
Oh,
region.
right. Lebanon.
They control all of it, so it might as well be
basically
Dartmouth, New Hampshire. Yeah,
the college.
Well, yeah, it's Dartmouth Mafia territory.
Yeah, so anyway, here in Keene back in 2014, there was a raid against a head shop, actually, that was on Main Street here in Keene. and very popular shop, very large business, like a lot of square footage, plenty of pipes and bongs and whatever they got.
Did they have adult novelties?
Actually, in the back there was an adult section, so they were raided by the DEA, and it was actually a coordinated raid that happened to pot shops, or not pot shops, but
head shops
across the United States. There were like 200 raids that happened on the same day, so it wasn't just this one location. And they took the man's truck. The guy who owned the place, of course, took the entire inventory from the store, basically.
Well, what crime were they charged with or suspected of doing that?
I don't even remember what it was, but it had nothing to do with taking all of his stuff, basically. The allegation was that he was, at one point, the allegation was that he was selling the synthetic drugs, but he wasn't, because he'd stopped selling the synthetic drugs because of enough outreach or outpouring of frustration and upset by the local community. He'd actually decided to stop on his own volition. But,
and you say they took his truck?
They sure did.
So it's and my understanding from what I hear,
and about $100,000 worth of inventory.
From my understanding, what I hear, it's like the excuse or the justification police use for, like, I think in vehicles particular is right. It was part of, if a vehicle was a participant in the crime, right? You know, and so the guy runs a store and they're taking away his. It's not like he's driving.
Right, he's just driving to work.
Yeah. So it's just, at this point, just plain theft.
That's all it was. And if you want to see the video, it's pretty amazing. It's I would say one of my favorite moments. It's a horrible moment, but as far as video of the horrible things government does, man, did we hold these people's feet to the flames. I was out there. Rich Paul was out there. Garrett Ian, another activist in the area at the time, just haranguing these bureaucrats as they kept loading boxes full of bongs and pipes and things like that onto a truck. They literally packed the back of a moving van or moving truck with tens of thousands, if not $100,000 worth of inventory for this store. And all of that stuff was forfeit. All of it was. I mean, they destroyed this man's business. He tried to reopen afterwards, and for a little while they did stay open, but eventually he closed it down after within the first year after the raid. It was really sad because his business had been around for close to a decade.
And it's left a vacuum that hasn't been filled. Now there's only a bunch of small head shops around here. There's no one big store, and the adult novelty shop is closing down.
I heard about that. In fact, it left a vacuum literally because the space is still empty. Years later, I mean, we're in 2019, so it's been almost half a decade that space that they were in has not been rented. So whoever the landlord is, and I believe I know who it is, I think it's actually a state senator. The landlord there has been without rent, that's a $3,000 to $4,000 a month property,
paying property tax on top of that.
Right, they're still paying full property tax on that spot. So anyway, talking about the Supreme Court coming in here with a good ruling. Of course, it's 3 decades too late or whatever.
Yeah. I was going to say it's about time they just 9-1 is like if
9-0.
9-0. If it's that clear cut, why is it this such a big issue?
Well, it's a huge issue. I guess nobody ever brought it to the court before. I mean, that's just how hard it is. Most people, when they get charged with something, first of all, if you get charged with civil, or if your assets get charged, because what happens is the government will file a case against your truck. So it's U.S. federal government versus Ford F-250. Seriously, these are the names of the cases.
It's incredibly Kafkaesque.
U.S. federal government versus $50,000 in cash. They literally have cases like this. And so what you have to do is hire an attorney, because you sure as hell can't do it yourself. You don't know the federal court system. Nobody knows that except for attorneys that actually have experience at it.
Yeah.
So you hire an attorney, then you're paying the attorney full rate, $300, $400 an hour or whatever that is, to try to fight to prove that this stuff wasn't involved in a crime or that it was legitimately obtained or whatever. And it's very, very difficult. So, in most cases, it's just not worth hiring the attorney, because if let's say you lost $20,000, you might end up paying an attorney $20,000 just to try to get it back. So most people, they just take a plea deal And that's what these folks who are running the head shop ended up doing. After intending to fight it, the federal government and all governments will come in with a plea deal, and it will be very tempting.
But it's a heads you win, tails you lose sort of thing either way.
No, it's a lose-lose either way.
Well, that's what it means. Heads you win, heads they win, tails you lose.
There you go. Yeah, that works. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. And the reason is because whenever you're dealing with the government, you'll always lose something. At the very least, you're going to lose your time. And you may lose your life at the worst. More on the way. You can take control of the airwaves. We'll give you a little more on the Supreme Court coming up here. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in here toll free. Take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. That is where you can go to learn the basics about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin had a nice little boost over the last several days, jumped up around $200 to $300 within about a 24-hour time frame, and it's kind of stayed up at around $3,900 US dollars per Bitcoin for the last few days. But one thing that people don't understand, Vincent, is that you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can get a fraction of a Bitcoin. In fact, I paid you earlier today.
3% of a Bitcoin.
Was it 3%?
It was 3%.
Yeah. So what that was for was because you did some work for us while Mark and I had been down in Mexico. Mark's still down there, but I was down there for not quite 2 weeks, and we did some live shows from there. And I can remotely do the things that I need to do for the Free Talk Live archives after the show remotely, but it's super slow and it's hard. And I figured Vincent, you can handle it. You're a tech guy. You can handle, whatever I throw at you as far as, running archives and stuff like that. So you came in every single night to do the archives for the show. So thank you for doing that. And I was going to pay you, and you requested a payment in Bitcoin, and that's what you got. And Bitcoin.com can help you learn the basics about Bitcoin. Go to Bitcoin.com, get started there. And you can take their Bitcoin Academy, by the way, and that's free. In fact, a lot of the stuff on the website at Bitcoin.com is free, including their news site. So if you're not brand new to Bitcoin, you want to get the latest news headlines, they've got those over there. There's also a Bitcoin.com forum as well, where you can interact with other Bitcoiners over at Bitcoin.com. As we continue, we're talking about civil asset forfeiture, and specifically the Supreme Court with a surprising 9-0 decision affirming that government, you can't fine people ridiculously. You can't take somebody's Land Rover if the person sold a little bit of heroin. And that's what happened here. A guy sold, Tyson Timms, small-time drug dealer, sold $225 worth of heroin to undercover police officers, and the state government seized his $42,000 Land Rover. Now, the claim is he bought that with the proceeds of his father's life insurance policy. So, I guess the state would argue it's drug money that he bought that with. But either way, the court is saying here that this is excessive. Quote, for good reason, the protection against excessive fines, this is Ruth Bader Ginsburg writing for the majority, has been, which is all 9 of them. Or I guess she wrote for 8 of them. I guess somebody else wanted to write their own. Anyway, exorbitant tolls undermine other constitutional liberties. She says, quote, excessive fines can be used, for example, to retaliate against or to chill the speech of political enemies. Quoting from an earlier decision, she wrote that even absent a political motive, quote, fines may be employed in a measure out of accord with the penal goals of retribution and deterrence, because fines are a source of revenue, while other forms of punishment cost the state money. So, for instance, going to jail is something that taxpayers have to pay for, whereas a fine is something that the individual has to pay for. Justice Ginsburg also wrote that excessive fines have played a dark role in this nation's history. She wrote that following the Civil War, Southern states enacted black codes to subjugate newly freed slaves and maintain the pre-war racial hierarchy. Among these laws' provisions were draconian fines for violating broad prescriptions on, quote, vagrancy and other dubious offenses, unquote. The decision will not halt civil forfeitures, however, said Wesley Hottet, a lawyer with the Institute for Justice, which represented the man in the case, saying, quote, people are still going to lose their property without being convicted of a crime. They're still going to have their property seized. The new thing is they can now say at the end of it all, whether I'm guilty or not, I can argue that it was excessive. Law enforcement agencies have resisted efforts. You look frustrated.
Well, it's like, it's a moral victory. People's stuff is going to get stolen, their livelihoods are going to get ruined. But, deep down, at least it makes us, you could feel better knowing that you were right. I mean, it's like, if there's not much of an alternative, well, there is an alternative, but it's not very pretty. And I don't know, for me, it's just frustrating that that's all they could do, right? I mean, you have something that's clearly not just like immoral, but clearly, in my view, at least according to the the Constitution, illegal. But it's allowed to go on, and if anyone fights back, they're a terrorist.
And what they're saying here is that basically the court, when you do an appeal in a court case, you have to do it on a very specific question of law. So you can't appeal the facts in a case. You can only appeal errors or what you allege to be errors made by the prior courts. So basically, if the Supreme Court justices are not asked a question specifically, they cannot answer anything else. So if the court is being appealed as far as this was excessive, was this punishment excessive, that's the only thing they can look at. They can't just throw out all of civil asset forfeiture because that wasn't what was in front of them. That wasn't the issue that was being appealed, which is, it sucks, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. Law enforcement efforts, or rather law enforcement agencies, have resisted efforts to curtail civil forfeiture, saying they rely on the proceeds for sorely needed equipment. Those poor law enforcement
and equipment that they get for discount or even for free from the Department of Homeland Security anyways.
Right, but they need more. It's just not enough for them to get free Bearcats and free MRAPs and free machine guns.
I'll tell you what, they need more bullets, but just going the other way.
They need, well, now wait a minute. That's not going to solve
I mean, in
the problem.
defense. So, I mean, in defense when they try and steal people's property.
What you're saying is that it's legitimate to fire back against a criminal gang that's trying to steal your property.
Or hurt you. Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree with you. It is legitimate to do that. It is completely morally correct. Unfortunately, it's going to make you end up dead if you do it. And further, it's not going to actually solve the problem. Because even if in all the 50,000 raids that the police commit every single year in the United States, no-knock raids, even if half of them fought back and one cop died in every single situation, it still wouldn't end the no-knock raids.
Well, I think it would be, like, not that I'm advocating for it, but it would be a decent deterrence, right? Like, when people saw Jaws, right? Mm-hmm. How many people, like, less than a dozen people normally would die from shark attacks, but how many people refuse to go to the beach after seeing Jaws? Thousands.
Yeah,
right, and that's a movie, right? It's not like Jaws was a documentary where I don't know however many people died, right? So I'm just saying that if a movie could get people to not do something, just imagine actual consequences.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm just going to have to disagree because I think that what you would see happen is if there were police officers who were scared away from the SWAT team by the fact that people were shooting back on a more regular basis, it wouldn't end the SWAT team. It would just mean that the cops who were, let's say, a little bit more affiliated with risk-taking, more interested
You mean the crazy sadists or the psychopaths?
Yeah, the craziest of
they're already there.
psychopaths.
That's already most of them.
That's what I'm saying. That is true, but it would attract an even more dangerous bunch of them in that particular case.
Well, then we'd get accelerationism, and there's pros and cons to that.
Well, and further, what it does, using violence back in response to state violence, besides lowering yourself to their level and embracing their tool, which is the tool of violence, you also, like I said, you'll end up dead.
Well, you could either die on your knees or die standing up. You're going to die eventually.
But you also set the movement back as well when you do that. So from a wider perspective, it makes
movement. Okay, we'll get freedom by arguing on Facebook all day. Okay, I see.
More coming up here.
Movement.
855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. You want to talk about civil asset forfeiture or whatever's on your mind? It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You know when you have about a billion things to do today, and then you realize you're out of whatever it is that you really need, and next day shipping isn't going to cut it because you really need it in like an hour. Yeah, that's when you turn to Office Depot Office Max. Buy what you need online at OfficeDepot.com or on our app and pick it up in store for free in just 1 hour so you can get back to whatever else is lurking on your to-do list. And hurry in to save up to 40% at the furniture event. That's up to 40% off at Office Depot Office Max. Offer expires February 23rd, 2019.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We are discussing the news about the Supreme Court voting 9-0 to basically in favor of a man who had his $42,000 Land Rover stolen from him by the police in Indiana. He pled guilty to selling $225 worth of heroin to undercover police officers. And you may be saying to yourself, well, heroin is bad. Heroin is very bad.
He's a death dealer, Ian. He's selling people death or killing themselves with his product, Ian.
Well, right. Some people believe that you should be put to death for selling heroin.
Donald Trump believes you should be put to death.
Is he one of those?
Oh, yeah. He said he wants to bring back the death penalty for opioid dealers.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you tell me that the other day? Somebody told me that.
He said that a while ago.
I remember hearing it within the last week. And, it was like, oh, man, right when I was starting to like Donald Trump, he's talking about bringing a death penalty in on drug dealing, which is so stupid and so counterproductive and pointless. And it once again goes to the same point that I was making before, was you were saying, if people use violence, what happens if people use violence against the state in defense? And I said it's going to mean that the cops are just going to be even more dangerous and even more crazy. And the same thing's true of if you use the death penalty against drug dealers, is you're going to get the even more violent, even more insane drug dealers, because if the penalty for dealing drugs is now death, then you have to be, really nuts to go up against that. And that also means that if the cops come after you, you are gonna use violence because you'll know that it'll mean you're going to die.
So you have nothing to lose.
Right. So you're just going to go ahead and arm your house to explode, or you'll just spray a bunch of cops down with a machine gun or whatever.
Well, I will say, just back to the other point about emboldening them, I'll say, like, maybe there's some sort of difference, some sort of balance, right, between like legitimate defending yourself against them and being like taking one for the team. Because if everyone just laid down, right, it's like a bully, right? If you lay down to the bully, they're going to bully you even harder.
Right,
They're going to go. So it's like it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of thing.
I agree with you. You don't want to just do nothing, but there's a middle point between doing nothing and using violence. And this is the thing that, like, most people who advocate for violence ignore this, or the people who advocate for doing nothing ignore it. The middle point is non-cooperation. The middle point is refusing to obey. The middle point is civil disobedience. The middle point is clogging the system, going to court, not taking the plea deal. This is the middle road because it makes their lives very difficult, but it doesn't put you in jeopardy of imminent death. And the more people that actually do this, the more effective it becomes. And you don't have to act, and you can't be painted as a psychopath, right? Because if you were to go out and do what you're talking about, Vincent, and you're not going to, but you're just talking, it's just a radio show. If you were to actually, cops come after you, you start blasting because they're going to take me or they're going to take everybody or whatever. You start blasting them. The news media is going to paint you as a psychopath, and it's going to make everybody else, because they're going to then find your radio show, and they're going to be like, oh, he was a libertarian. Oh,
he's one of those crazy Ron Paul supporters.
Right, he's one of those people. See, they're all like this. And then, of course, it kind of sets the movement back in that way. Whereas, if you refuse to obey, well, then some people aren't going to like you for it. Oh, how dare he not take a plea deal? I mean, people are always going to criticize you no matter what it is that you decide to do. But at least you'll be alive to speak for yourself in that particular case, and there will be a counterpoint that you can make to any of the things that they say, because otherwise you're dead, and then it's just the media saying things about you.
Well, and one could also be proactive, too, like without even getting into a situation where the cops are after you. If people are proactive and invest their time in getting good sheriff candidates elected, because sheriffs could stop all of it, right? Sheriffs have the constitutional authority to kick the feds out.
Supposedly.
Well, it's just you say supposedly just because very few actually exert their power, because most sheriffs are politicians.
Right. Now there are some sheriffs who, and we can talk more about the Supreme Court here in a moment, but there are some sheriffs who have kind of made a stand, at the very least, on the immigration issue, where they have said to the federal government, and by the way, Jay Noon joining us. Hey, Jay.
Hey, I can actually give you guys a little example of a sheriff actually doing his job here in New Hampshire some years ago.
Sure, go ahead.
So I don't remember the sheriff's name, but I believe it was it's the county that Wolfboro, New Hampshire is, which might be Wolfboro County or.
That's the Lakes region, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, you guys, Christopher Gronsky,
I saw him last week. He was at Anarchapulco.
Yeah.
We interviewed him.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And I always enjoy the Anarchapulco shows that you guys do.
Thanks.
It's great entertainment.
They're different, but yeah.
Anyways, so Christopher will tell the story better than me, but he talks about how a friend of his was having an IRS issue, and the IRS was going to lien either a property or a bank account or something like that. I don't remember all the details. So Christopher set up a meeting with his friend and the county sheriff and one of the IRS agents. And basically they went over the paperwork. It was, a very polite meeting, and they Christopher basically pointed out some things with the IRS and the sheriff, and basically, the end of the story is that the IRS ended up not going through with whatever they were going to go through with. I don't know if it was seizing a bank account or seizing property. I can't remember the details. But the sheriff was like, well, he was kind of reluctant, but they were basically like, well, this is your duty, is to protect the citizens, and what the IRS has no jurisdiction here. This guy's, not a U.S. citizen. He's a New Hampshire, state national, like what Gronsky talks about, and basically they the IRS agents just kind of walked away, and they actually tried serving the IRS agent with some paperwork, and
who did?
Christopher Gronsky's friend, and
using the sheriffs to serve him, or
they had like a meeting with the sheriff, but it was just in hand, I guess. I'm not sure, just as they were there, and I think there was a little something about that. But basically, the sheriff did do his like actual duty, and this was maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago. Maybe I get him a call in and tell the story someday, because it's pretty interesting. And the thing is first off, nobody really asks these public servants to exercise their duties of checks and balances. Nobody asks a sheriff to really. You got to ask these guys to do these things to protect you. You got to, which of
course they're not obligated to do, but
they're not obligated to do. But
if you don't ask, they're even less likely to do it.
But yeah, if they don't know what's going on, they're less likely to do it. And there is certainly. There certainly is people who get elected into government positions that they want to do good, and usually what happens, they just get so sick of the system, they just get out, or they become corrupted themselves.
Yeah, that does tend to be the two different paths that these bureaucrats end up taking. I've seen it happen.
Oh, yeah, yep.
So we're talking about this Supreme Court case. 9-0, they ruled that the state of Indiana and all states are being excessive with their punishments. The man who had his $42,000 Land Rover stolen by the Indiana State Police is basically been vindicated here. Even though he's still guilty, he is still guilty of selling heroin to an undercover police officer, but it was only $225 worth of heroin. He paid $1,200 in fees and fines, and so the Supreme Court said, y'all shouldn't have taken his $42,000 truck.
Well, that's excellent that he actually did sell the heroin, because
he did.
Now they can't do this asset forfeiture. That's like probably,
they can still do asset forfeiture. That's what the attorney Wesley Hottet for the Institute for Justice said, and in his statement, he did say that people will still lose their property without being convicted, and they're still going to have their property seized. However, after the fact, you can argue that was excessive. So it might help them get their property back later.
Well, I'm glad the Supreme Court ruled that it was excessive when it was an actual heroin deal and not just, this guy had $5,000, but, he didn't have any drugs or anything, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point, because it does show that even though this person was committing a technical crime, the court said this is an excessive punishment, even for this supposedly horrible crime of selling heroin. Because there's people who are mad about this, who just want to see heroin dealers, have their heads cut off in public square, because they think that's going to somehow solve the heroin issue, when, of course, all it'll do is just open up another position for another drug dealer. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
Your promotion to CIO, Chief Ink Officer.
Because this week, in honor of President's Day, you get 20% back in rewards when you spend $75 on ink or $200 on toner.
With savings that big, you'll be the Director of Deals, the President of Printing.
Get 20% back in rewards on ink or toner. Now at Staples.
Where there's a whole lot in store.
Ends 2/23/19. Restrictions apply. See store or staples.com/20 in rewards for details.
Geico presents eyewitness interviews with inanimate objects.
This is Brian Bruno, live on the scene of a recent windstorm, here to describe the event, a chest of drawers.
There's a storm howling outside, so I thought I'd stay in and watch a rom-com. 5 minutes into the flick, a tree branch slams through the window.
Were you hurt?
I just got a scratch on my chest.
Your chest of drawers can't help you in a windstorm, but the Geico Insurance Agency can help you get covered for personal property damage. Call Geico to see how affordable homeowners insurance can be.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free here and bring up whatever you want to discuss. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. So head on over there to enjoy the features on Discord. In fact, that allows you to actually interact with other Free Talk Live listeners basically 24 hours a day. There are a lot of people in there, and it's a good chat room, but it also allows you to call the show. So check it out at discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian with you here tonight.
Jay. Vincent.
We're back to the story from the New York Times about I would say, a pretty important court case here. 9-0 decision. The Supreme Court of the United States saying that it's not okay, police departments, to be doing these excessive asset forfeitures. So it doesn't say that asset forfeiture itself should be illegal, that they are going to abolish it. But what it does say is that you can't be taking something that is in excess of the crime that was committed. Now, what does that actually mean? When it comes down to it, I don't exactly know. But what they did say was that a heroin dealer who sold $250 worth of heroin should not have had his $42,000 car stolen from him by the government.
Well, my understanding was it said he had to pay like a $1,200 fine.
That's correct.
So my understanding is that it would have to be within $1,200.
Maybe.
I mean, that's just the way, just you reading it, that's how I understand. Probably, knowing this government and our laws, It's going to be something like the opposite.
Yeah, that's what a sane person would likely think, but you're right, Vincent. They don't always do things that make sense. In this case, it's a sensible decision so far, and law enforcement agencies have, of course, resisted efforts to curtail civil forfeiture, saying they rely on the proceeds for sorely needed equipment. It's difficult, not impossible, or if not impossible, to calculate the total value of civil forfeitures by local police departments and prosecutors, but a significant portion comes from joint operations with federal law enforcement and is tracked by the Justice Department. In fiscal year 2018, state and local agencies received $400 million through this arrangement, known as equitable sharing. The amount varied widely by agency. The Surprise Police Department in Arizona. How's that for a name? Apparently, there's a town named Surprise.
There is, yep.
Surprise Police.
Right. While the Buffalo, so they received $570,000. While the Buffalo Police Department in upstate New York got $130,000, the New York Police Department took in $7.8 million.
Does it say if they have to like pay any sort of tax on that money?
Why would they?
Yeah, they're charities. Charities don't pay tax on money.
So the way this works, though, for those of you who don't know, is for any agency that assists the federal government in one of these drug raids or whatever it is that they're doing, they get a cut, and I believe it's fairly hefty. If I recall correctly, I think it may be up to 80%.
So that's why it makes perfect sense for these agencies to, engage in this conspiracy to, do asset forfeiture anywhere they can, because they get all this money. They get these toys.
Exactly.
I'm sure they get, a vending machine with free beer or something. Who knows? I mean, it's insane.
Sure, this is off budget. Right.
Yeah,
so there's whatever's in their budget. That's what they need to run their department. This is in excess of that. They don't budget for this stuff. I mean, they probably think they can because they can expect to do X amount of drug raids in any given year, but it's technically not in the budget. But it's bonuses. So, buy the whole department new laptops, new guns, new,
It's racketeering.
Whatever.
And I'm sure, just like their budget, they make sure they burn it all right up, and so they can ask for more every year. And they probably have these, like, if somebody dug hard enough or found a whistleblower, they might, find, that, like, oh, guys, our asset forfeiture was $1.8 million. Let's see if we can get it over $2 million this year.
Yeah.
Whoever gets the most asset forfeiture gets to drive the brand new Escalade. That that we get for you or whatever.
Which they also have stolen from drug dealers.
Oh, absolutely.
Vehicles like that. In Philadelphia, forfeiture proceeds once accounted for 20% of its prosecutor's budget, while agencies in New York and California tend to take in the highest sums, according to the Institute for Justice.
Prosecutor budget. What is that for? I guess it's for paying confidential informants.
I don't know. Is that the prosecutor's office that does that?
I have no idea, but I know that, like, in Palmer, Massachusetts, the Eastern Hampton County Narcotic Task Force literally had like this. And they still have it. It still exists. It's like a cash slush fund for basically confidential informants, and basically it was like, and all the accounting is CI number 62, because you don't know the guy's name,
right.
Any of that stuff. So it could be nobody, and they're just pocketing the cash. They would literally, just write in a thing, 2,000 for your CI number 62.
Right, and who is
that's all
that?
I got to do.
Right.
Well, CI 62 is a guy named Jerry Battistoni, and I like to use that as an example. But
most people don't know.
But he's dead now because he stopped playing their game and whatever. But yeah.
So investigations across the country have uncovered many examples where the property seized was disproportionate to the crime, taken from innocent citizens, or targeted in accordance with law enforcement wish lists. Meaning that, we'd like an Escalade. Let's find somebody with one who's black or, who fits a certain profile, and then we'll just go ahead and trump up a charge against him, pull him over for having a burnout taillight, and then throw a bag of heroin in the back seat or something like that. And all of a sudden, we got ourselves a heroin dealer and a free Escalade.
Well, sometimes they don't even have to plant anything. I've heard stories of, like, this old lady who runs a diner and doesn't have a bank account. She would have all the cash in her car. Yep. They would stop her, and they say, versus, like, at the border, you can't have more than 10 grand. This is like within the states, and they'd say they would use that as probable cause, saying, well, no normal person has that amount of cash. You're using it for drugs or something.
Right.
They would take it, and
then you have to prove that you didn't use it, that it wasn't used by or gained through drugs, that it was gained through legal channels. But again, then we come back to what I pointed out earlier. The only way you can do that is by hiring an attorney,
which she didn't have the money for, because they stole the entire month's earnings.
And even if you did have the money for it, you'd have to pay the attorney basically the amount you were trying to get back. So it's pointless.
There was a guy in Western Mass who owned a car dealership, and it was a similar thing. He actually would fly one way, bought a one-way ticket down to some exotic car auction somewhere, and he went down there with like $65,000, in a briefcase, literally, handcuffed to his arm, and he bought like a $3,200 car, just put his dealer plate on it, and just drove it home. He bought something. He wasn't able to buy like something cool, and it was in local news, 20 years ago, And it was one of these things where you needed to have like a $15,000 cash deposit or something at this auction, and like they weren't doing checks because people were coming from like Canada and like South America to buy at these things, and there was a lot of the bogus check stuff was happening, or you needed to be like pre-approved through the auction. So he just went down there, he's going to try to buy some exotic car and ship it or drive it home, and he got picked up in Virginia for speeding or something, and and he was convinced that like they knew he had the money because it's like they just went right for like the briefcase that was like under some clothes in the back seat. And
how would they have known? Did somebody tip him off?
No clue. He just is convinced, but this was like in Virginia where it happened. And there's been horror stories like this, like guys are doing legitimate operation. They own tractor dealerships. They're going to buy a tractor for cash off some farmer, and
not a cheap piece of equipment, right?
$10,000-$12,000, and they steal it from him.
The cash.
Yeah.
Because they don't want your tractor.
Yeah, and there's nothing about any drugs or anything. These guys have no criminal records. These like old tractor dealer dudes. You're straight as an arrow, never had a parking ticket. And this is why I think it's so great that somebody who got actually busted with heroin, it is excessive because there's so many people out there who literally, mom and pop, just like Vince was saying, the grandma who's got the diner who collects $5,000 cash or $10,000 on some of these really busy diners. That's not unexpected to collect that kind of money on a Sunday morning.
I wonder if they're still doing what they were doing like probably more than a decade ago down in Florida, in Bradenton, Florida, which is where Mark is from originally. They were going around and like busting minor drug dealers and essentially telling them, hey, look, you're facing a felony charge here, buddy. We got you for selling drugs. That's a felony charge. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to offer you. They put a pre-written statement in front of them. Just put it down in front of them, give them a pen and say, look, you sign away the title to your car to us right now, and we'll let you go. And they were doing this. And it was working, right? Because, like, who doesn't want to avoid a felony charge? All you got to do is give up your car?
This don't only happen in Florida. This is something I've heard happening in New York.
Yep.
I've heard about that.
So they don't even end up arresting the person. So there's no actual, like, paper trail as far as paper trail within the arresting, system and prosecution and all that. There's nothing. They just basically are scaring the crap out of somebody and getting them to sign over ownership of their car right there on the spot. They end up walking home. Hand over the keys, sign over the title to the police department. Crazy stuff. That really happened. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We can talk more about civil asset forfeiture on the way. Vincent, you've got a story about Venezuela and possible U.S. military involvement down there and what that could mean. More on the way. Hour number 2's next. It's Free Talk Live.
#1 international best-selling author, Matthew David Hurtado's pain was simple. Lyme disease bankrupted him in 2009, watching bankers take everything from his family after building a 7-figure business from his couch. God called him to ministry to teach prosperity based on pain he could not tolerate in others' lives. IRS, creditors, car loans, debt. It's the Babylonian system, and you have to escape it before it's too late. Haven't you ever wanted to wake up from this nightmare? Matthew David's free quick study guide shows you what to do today to build lasting wealth in any economy. His discovery he made? It's all consciousness. Get Matthew's 7-figure quick study guide for clarity, certainty, and a proven strategy to build wealth once and for all. Visit escaperightnow.com. Do it now. It's free. escaperightnow.com for a prosperous future ahead with peace of mind. escaperightnow.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,344. Silver opened at $16.01, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,913. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Takeoff with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Michigan may be joining 11 other states that require a criminal conviction before any asset forfeiture. The Detroit Free Press reports that police and prosecutors will be prohibited from seizing cash and property from people accused of a crime until they are convicted on the charges, under a bill passed in the state Senate on Wednesday. The Free Thought Project reports that law enforcement seized more than $13 million in cash from civil asset forfeitures in 2017. Of the 6,662 cases, more than half did not involve someone convicted of a crime. In the report from the Free Thought Project, taking property from people who have been convicted of no crime sounds a lot like legalized robbery. California, Connecticut, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oregon, and Vermont are all states requiring a criminal conviction to strip someone of their rightful property. 3 states, North Carolina, New Mexico, and Nebraska, have abolished civil forfeiture entirely. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. The Pentagon is hoping to make telepathy a part of its arsenal in the near future. Activist Post reports it's the latest program of the Department for Advanced Research Projects Agency, known as DARPA. The Defense Department Research Office, tasked with developing breakthrough technologies and innovations for the U.S. Armed Forces. According to Defense One, DARPA is seeking to explore technologies that would link the brains and bodies of troops to a range of military applications through artificial intelligence, equipped neural interfaces that allow troops to control machines with their thoughts alone. In its quest for unquestioned battlefield dominance and the minimization of troop losses, the U.S. military has long been attracted to the potential power that AI may unlock, and has spent billions upon billions of dollars in pursuit of autonomous and semi-automated weapon systems that bring to mind dystopian science fiction films like RoboCop and The Terminator. As the pool of candidates vying for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president continues to grow, so does a sustained and ongoing push to spread lies about them on social media, with one key aim being to sow division among progressive voters. That's according to an alarming political report published Wednesday. Citing analysis by and conversations with data scientists and digital campaign strategists, the outlet reported that researchers and others interviewed say they cannot conclusively point to the actors behind the coordinated activity, and it's unclear if they are rogue hackers, political activists, or, as some contend, foreign state actors such as Russia. One of the objectives of the activity is to divide the left by making the Democratic presidential primary as chaotic and toxic as possible. The anti-media reports that research by the pro-democracy tech firm Guardians.ai found that Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, as well as former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, appear to be the top targets. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
His name is Osimo. Honda has unveiled its new human-like robot that the team says is designed to run a non-competitive half marathon and then smugly brag about it afterwards. Project leader Kenji Saito calls the robot very aggravating, adding, quote, "We knew how to create a robot that could run great distances at high speeds. The challenge was to build a bot that would be impressed with its own minor achievement. The robot even believes it could run a full marathon if it wanted to, but it's just doing this to stay in shape and have some fun.
If I wanted to, I probably could have played college football."
Aiming to make the android as realistically human as possible, scientists installed sensors to register derisive comments and eye rolls from annoyed coworkers as genuine interest in its self-centered blathering. The team noted that the irritating robot could be useful in medical fields as well. Already, Osimo has pestered scientists into sponsoring it to run a 5K in Cape Cod this summer. To date, it's raised over $700 for leukemia research.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You're invited to join us here and take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom with you tonight. It's Ian.
Jay. Vincent.
Of course, you can bring up whatever is on your mind. Take control of the airwaves here. We talked in the first hour. We're going to continue a little bit on the issue of civil asset forfeiture, specifically the Supreme Court ruling 9-0, not against it. They didn't rule against civil asset forfeiture, but they did rule that it should not be excessive, that fines and forfeitures for criminal convictions, in this case, a heroin dealer who was convicted of selling $200-something worth of heroin, had his Land Rover, $42,000 car, stolen from him, and the Supreme Court said that's excessive, and that needs to stop. So that's a bit of good news. We'll share more with you in a couple moments. But also, Venezuela is coming up. Vincent, you've got a story about Venezuela and the U.S. government potentially getting involved there militarily and what that could possibly mean. We'll get into that as well. And we go first, though, to the phones. To the phone, Dave is in New Hampshire, which I presume it's Dave Ridley. Dave?
Someone along those lines.
Someday, another Dave is going to call in from New Hampshire, and I'm going to be wrong, and it's not going to be Dave Ridley. But go ahead, Dave.
So there is I always like to call it the genius of New Hampshire. You know, when I used to, before I moved here, I used to think, well, you know, it'd be great if people would do this. And then I would get here, and they'd already done it, or they were doing it while I was here. And so one of the things that I had not seen before is that someone avoiding using the police to solve a crime, refusing to use the police, at least initially. And that is what has happened in Bow, New Hampshire. A man he suffered a snowmobile theft and some other items, and he used social media to sort of solve the crime.
Really?
And declined to go to the police.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. It actually, I don't really know the guy, but I know the area. And
You're familiar with the exact case?
Exact case, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking about this. Actually, I was going to think about doing this as show prep, just because it's such a perfect example. And I actually friended him on Facebook, and I gave him the link to get cell411.com. Told him about Cell 411, and
Cell 411 is a emergency alerts app that you can send a GPS based alert to your friends when something bad's happening to you. Basically.
Yep, and you can even ride share with it too.
But wait a minute. So how did this work exactly, Dave and/or Jay? I mean, he lost his snowmobile to theft. I presume he didn't. Did he witness the theft, or was it just he showed up to his house and it wasn't there anymore, or what?
He apparently is a business owner, and he had a surveillance video that showed the thing being stolen. Someone apparently hitched a trailer to a piece of. They hitched a vehicle to a trailer or something like that, and whatever they did wound up with. I guess the suspect vehicle has now been located, and I guess you got like 2,500 like responses or views or something like that on social media, with people trying to sort of become amateur sleuths and crowdsourcing the whole sleuthing process or whatnot. But now it's a little bit more complex than that, in the sense that he is indicated he will involve police once he has more evidence or something like that. So he's not completely doing this without police. But it's something.
So wait a
I've
minute, just to clarify, he hasn't actually found his snowmobile.
Oh yeah, he had. I can fill in all the blanks on this if you want.
Yeah, please.
I don't know. So what had happened? It was I got up at 7. I got up early in the morning, and I'm using the restroom, and I'm looking at Facebook, and I see this first thing on my Facebook post pops up, and so what it was this guy, and it says somebody stole my snowmobile, and he had pictures of the truck, and the truck, which is a very unique looking Ford 99 to like 08 Super Duty with a homemade flatbed body on it,
like a 350, like an F350,
like F250 or 350. Yep, and you can see single wheel truck, regular cab, and I've seen this truck in Henniker before.
You've seen the truck?
Oh yeah, I've seen the truck because like I see this guy's truck driving around. I'm like, oh, that guy's a little crafty. He built his own bed on it, and he's one of these like, diesel kids that like goes around, rolls coal, blows black smoke, and like I could tell he was kind of like a little bit of a.
So he's a redneck.
Yeah, like Timmy Tough Nut is what my friend called guys like this. So like, because I have a Dodge diesel, so there's like this rivalry. The guys with the Fords and the Chevys and the Dodges. It's been going on forever.
Where they got like Calvin peeing on the logo.
Yeah. So I roll up to an intersection in Henniker a couple of times, and I've seen this particular guy. He's done it twice, and he'll just like. Roll cold and like pull out fast in front of me because I have a Dodge diesel, and I don't care. I might have done that stuff, and I did that stuff when I was 20 also,
Yeah.
But anyway, so I get on there. I'm like, oh yeah, I seen this truck in Henniker, and that's all I got to offer. So what had happened? He owns a repair shop. They had actually broke into the shop. They stole a couple of bumpers. This guy had some like high end.
Was this at the same time?
At the same time, yep.
Okay.
And there was a snowmobile trailer with two like very new snowmobiles. This guy's name is Wallenberger.
The victim.
And he's in, like, you look at his Facebook page, he's like into like motocross and snowmobiling. He's very much into that stuff. And he ended up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, he gets a call from a friend who was out snowplowing, and is like, dude, there's tracks to your shop. Did you take your trailer? He's like, what are you talking about? And because I read all this stuff, and I read all things on his Facebook, and so his friend notified him that his snowmobile trailer was missing. And so what he did is instantly put this up, and he put a $500 bounty for the name and phone number of the guy who took the trailer. Now this was posted at 3:30 a.m. on Facebook. I was about 6:30, 6:45. I'm looking at it, and there was hundreds and hundreds of posts. And then the was it Union News or Union Leader? A couple days later, they did an article, and in the Union Leader, they say that they found the cops that the trailer was not hitched up correctly. It was, and it fell off in the road. That's not what happened.
Really?
So on Facebook, people are like, "Oh, that's BS," and because the guy. So all the comments are like, "Oh, you mean this truck?" And they show it at there's a high school in Bow. It's like a something regional high school, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've seen the truck here." And then another guy, like at 8 o'clock in the morning, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got surveillance footage of that truck coming in the." So he's got like puts up all these surveillance pictures on Facebook of this truck parked in the parking lot at the high school. So what the other guy said on Facebook is no, the guy literally while he was stealing the trailer gets his name tagged in Facebook posts and sees it on it and literally like stopped and just unhooked a trailer right in the road and just kept going. This is what they said on Facebook. I'm just reading this. So, and they said that the cops found the abandoned trailer, and they said that it was improperly hitched.
I see. They presumed that.
And
Okay.
that's what the article said. And people are like, oh, no, that's BS. You know, the dude knew he was getting busted because people knew. And the thing is, it was somebody the guy knew. That's usually who steals your stuff.
Sucks.
So he knew how to get into the shop. He knew how to or I don't know if it was a shop or like a storage unit where these bumpers were. There was like these bumpers are worth like $1,500 a piece.
Is he a doper or something like that?
So all of his, like, they put, like, people were tagging him and stuff. And so somehow I went back through in Facebook and I couldn't find any of the posts where they like tagged, because hundreds of people were tagging this dude in the comment. Hey, you need to bring Wallenberger's sled back.
Yeah,
you know,
jerk.
you no good thief.
Right.
You know,
Other words we can't say.
Yeah, and so I thought it was great. So I'm like, yeah, sell 411 guys. I mean, you know, but you know, Facebook worked for it, and we don't need cops. And everybody on there was like, yeah, the cops, you know, they're really interested in writing tickets. They don't care about property. So at like 9 o'clock in the morning is when the police got involved, because they had somebody had found a trailer in the road and reported it, and they just, you know, sent a towing company out there to get it, and then the police basically called the guy and they're like, you get any information, you got to give it to us, and blah, blah, blah. So the police went and seized the truck, and this dude was allegedly arraigned in court, you know, the following day or something.
And so he's a high school kid.
Oh, I don't know about that, but they had pictures of the truck in the high school parking lot pretty much daily.
Well, he's probably not a teacher.
Probably not, or picking up somebody from high school. But yeah,
could be. Wow, Dave, good call. I don't know if you had more to say. We ended up being Jay telling a good version here of that story. So stand by if you had more. More with Dave Ridley, possibly on the way. Your calls and thoughts welcome as well. Plus Venezuela also coming up 8:55, 450 free. Like freedom, you can join us on Free Talk Live.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for lrn.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to lrn.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and bring up whatever is on your mind here. Number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And with you tonight, it's Ian.
Jay.
Vincent.
Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. If you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, then freedomsphoenix.com has them. So go and check them out and sign up for their daily dispatch so you can stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. It's Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. So go back to Dave in New Hampshire telling us about, and with your assistance, Jay, because you paid real close attention to this story, a man who lost his sled or a snowmobile.
Snowmobile, yep.
He called it a sled, though. It's
that's what they call them.
A little fancier than a sled. But he lost it to theft by a man driving a truck, and it was found thanks to people on Facebook, which, you know, as much as I dislike Facebook, the truth is sometimes some useful things happen there, and I guess this is one example of that. But Dave, your thoughts on the story? Because you brought it up.
Well, it says volumes about the hunger people have for being able to do this kind of thing themselves, as opposed to relying on the police. And I think it says, you know, maybe it will only take seconds for the police to be replaced once they go away. I don't know.
Yeah, great point. I mean, we've barely scratched the surface as far as what things could be like without the police. I mean, we can sit here and we can envision, we can imagine what it would be like. We can point to examples of, it might be like this, it might be like this. But we don't have a marketplace in protection services. We don't know how effective and how affordable market protection services would end up being. As you pointed out, Jay, here, this was all done crowdsourced. These people didn't do it necessarily because they were going to get paid. There were hundreds of comments on there.
Well, so we all have friends on Facebook, and we all have people that that want to help us out. I mean, I like to think that everybody's definitely got some Facebook friends that want to help. Obviously, you got some Facebook trolls that want to torment you too, maybe. But and there's this guy Jim Wallen Weber is his name. I just looked it up on his Facebook page. He was quoted in that union leader article saying that he had no intention of ever getting the police involved, but the cops are now involved. And then he did write that, hopefully this guy goes to jail for stealing his stuff, which, I mean, most Americans, follow this punitive justice system. Like I always said, if I was a guy, I'd be like, well, all right, you return my stuff, you got busted, and you're going to give me a few $1,000s for my aggravation and stress.
Sure.
And
call it a day.
And then call it a day. And if you, and I don't know how the perpetrator could say no to that because, a lawyer is going to cost him $5,000 for this case.
At least.
And I wouldn't even bring up the cops. Right. I just, I have
handle it with a blowtorch and a lead pipe. At least that's how I'd do it.
Wait, what would you do with a blowtorch?
Well, I'm sure you have an imagination, Ian.
Yeah, I'm sure if you fired the torch up and were like, hey, and and you had them tied to a chair, they might start squirming, and then you go over and start soldering something or whatever. But
all right, Dave Ridley, anything else to share tonight? Go ahead.
I think the police did not exist before 1850, did they?
I guess not. I don't know.
Well, they originally started as bounty hunters for slaves, right? It was
I've heard
and
that.
in common law, they had the sheriff.
Dave, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it, man. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. She's Sarah in New Mexico. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, I have a comment about that man that was selling loose cigarettes and he got choked to death.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, a Garner.
Yeah, Eric Garner. That was his name. In New York City. There's video of it. It's absolutely horrifying.
Well, you know something? I hate cigarettes, and I'm glad I'm glad that he got choked to death.
Yeah, you told us that before. It's shocking to hear you say that. So heartless. I mean, how can you even...
Like, I was talking about shooting cops in self-defense earlier, and I'm shocked now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely horrible what you're saying, Sarah. I mean, your inhumanity towards your fellow man is pretty sickening.
I mean, look at the logic of it. Look at what is he selling? It suffocates people. It gives COPD. People wind up suffocating. Okay, and so then is it any surprise that he got choked to death?
So you're saying it's fair. You're saying fair's fair because he's suffocating people to death with his cigarettes, and so therefore he should be choked to death, is what you're saying.
Well, that's what he got. Okay, but wasn't he?
Except for the fact that people are choosing to smoke. He's not shoving cigarettes down somebody's throat and choking them to death. They're choosing to smoke.
And the reason...
But it was illegal. It was illegal to sell those on the sidewalk.
Do you think that also every cigarette dealer who's selling legally should be choked to death as well?
Everybody that operates a convenience store, that works, the 17-year-old girl working a summer job at the 7-Eleven.
Or the CEO of Marlboro.
Well, I don't know. But the thing,
why don't you know?
Well, so, Sarah, you just want an African-American person, a low-income African-American person who is selling it to be strangled. So are you some sort of racist, Sarah, that you only want black people being prosecuted?
Good question.
No, it's not that. But the whole attitude of like selling of promoting cigarettes,
Okay, so let me just see
avoiding the question, changing the topic.
Right, yeah, she always avoids questions. So anybody who promotes cigarettes should be choked to death?
No, but I'm just saying...
Only Eric Garner? Only a black man on the streets of New York who's selling loosies, who's selling one at a time? You think that should be choked to death, but a man selling a pack of 20 cigarettes in a 7-Eleven?
Or a carton of, like...
Right.
I don't smoke, so I don't know how much is in a carton.
Or a pallet full?
Well, something I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe they're not supposed. Maybe they it's not their karma to when they sell it legal like that. When they sell it that way. It's
Wait a minute. Are you saying it's only bad karma if you sell a cigarette illegally?
Of course, Sarah's an Eastern mysticist talking about karma.
As long as you have paid the tax stamp, then it's totally okay karmatically to sell cigarettes?
I have no idea, but to me, you selling stuff that suffocates people, it chokes people out, and it's illegal. Okay, it was so then I think that it was part of his karma.
Yeah, you just said that. But what you're saying is it's part of his karma, but other people who sell cigarettes legally, that's not bad karma because it's legal. They paid a tax bill.
They're going to get theirs. All the cigarette companies...
What would you like to see happen to those people?
Well, I have no idea what they're going to get, the cigarette companies.
No, not what they're going to get.
What do you want to see happen to them? What would Sarah's ideal punishment be for the Marlboro cigarette manufacturers and all the factory workers?
Sarah's
too, by the way?
final solution for the cigarette problem.
There you go. That's what I'm looking for. What is it?
Look, am I God? Do I dispense judgment?
No, we're asking you what you want to see happen.
So if you were God for a day, what would you do to the cigarette cartel?
What I want is that whatever God decides, whatever he thinks that he deserves, what they deserve.
All right. No, well, you're not going to answer the question, so thanks for the call tonight, Sarah.
And the real issue is the reason Eric Gardner was attacked by the police is because the police are running a protectionism racket.
That's right.
They were,
they're
people
working
are licensed to sell cigarettes. This guy wasn't.
Right.
He was inching in on their territory, so
they're working to protect those other licensed sellers from this dastardly man selling loosies on the streets.
Hired thugs.
To the people who can't afford a whole pack of cigarettes, mind you. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at ReadyToEatBacon.com. ReadyToEatBacon.com.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Just jump into any one of those, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And with you here, it's Ian.
Jay.
Vincent.
By the way, we've got video clips, and we got a lot of them. We brought Eric Freerock out of retirement. He is back at it, cutting up Free Talk Live episodes into video clips that you can easily share. So instead of having to share a whole 2-hour-long radio show, you can just share one of these video clips that's on a segment that you thought was interesting or entertaining or whatever, or informative, enlightening. You can just share that clip on your favorite social media, wherever it is that you like to hang out, and then your friends and family members can discover Free Talk Live that way. So we're posting these clips to, or Eric is posting these to his channel on YouTube, which you can access by going to clips.freetalklive.com. Then you can subscribe to the channel. Alternatively, you can find out about them by following us on a few different social media. So on the Free Talk Live Twitter, on the Free Talk Live Mastodon, which you can find over at toot.freetalklive.com. The Twitter is twitter.freetalklive.com. And then also the Telegram channel that we have over at telegram.freetalklive.com. So whenever one of these clips posts to YouTube, it will automatically be posted also to those social media. So you'll know if you're following us on any one of those platforms.
So on the Telegram channel, you guys are using that now as like a social media platform. I mean, I chat on it a lot, and I'm in.
No. It's not a chat channel. It's just a channel for announcements. So only the administrators, meaning the hosts of Free Talk Live, can post to that channel.
So basically, I access that through the Telegram app on my phone.
Correct.
I chat with people.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware that was an option.
Right. So, Telegram has what they call channels, which is like a one-way communication device. So you can't talk back on the Telegram channel. So Telegram it's a chat app for the most part, meaning that you can have group chats or one-on-one chats. That's what I use it for 99% of the time. But there's also this other channels feature, or I think it's called channels. Maybe it's called something different. But anyway, it's like the idea is sort of a one-way announcement blast kind of thing. So if you just type in your web browser, telegram.freetalklive.com, it'll pop you right into that channel.
Now, can I go right from my Telegram app and find it?
I don't think that's possible. Maybe it is. Actually, it might be possible. It's I think it's just at Free Talk Live on Telegram, but I could be wrong about that. All I know is, Jay, the easiest way to do it is in a web browser. Just type it in, and then if you have the Telegram app, it'll automatically open it for you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
I'll
just
do
put
that
it in your web browser. Telegram.freetalklive.com. But again, that's about the video clips. They're coming out every day. We got new clips coming out every single day, so it's another way for you to listen to and share Free Talk Live, your favorite parts, over at clips.freetalklive.com. All right, so we continue here. We've been talking about asset forfeiture, and there's a little bit more here about the subject from the New York Times, their story on the 9-0 decision by the Supreme Court that punishments need to fit the crime. Punishments should not be excessive to whatever crime was committed. And they specifically looked at a heroin case with $250 worth of heroin that was sold, or $225, and the man pled guilty, ordered to pay $1,200 in fines, but they also seized his $42,000 Land Rover, and the court said that is excessive. Investigations across the country, by the way, have uncovered many examples where the property seized was disproportionate to the crime, taken from innocent citizens, or targeted in accordance with law enforcement wish lists. As its name suggests, a civil forfeiture does not require a criminal conviction or even criminal charges, but only proof that the property at issue was used in connection with a crime. Owners who wish to reclaim their property must demonstrate that it was not, or that it was used without their knowledge. A recent series of articles by the Greenville News examined every civil forfeiture case in South Carolina from 2014 to 2016, finding examples like that of Ella Brummel, who was a 72-year-old woman who had to fight off the forfeiture of her house after drug dealers conducted transactions on her property, despite Brummel's multiple attempts to stop them. So it sounds like the cops arrested a guy for selling drugs while on this woman's property without her permission, and then went ahead and used that arrest to justify the forfeiture of her entire home.
I wonder if this was
insane.
Located in some neighborhood that, there's heavy gun restrictions, so the old lady couldn't walk out with her 20-gauge shotgun
and shoot him, and
start waving
away.
it at him.
Whoa, hey, you're trying to ruin the movement, bud, with that violent talk there.
She didn't say shoot the drug dealer. She just said wave the gun at him.
Okay. I thought you were talking about waving at the cops and are trying to steal her stuff. Okay, excuse me. Pardon me. Okay.
In a similar case in Philadelphia, where law enforcement agencies once took in $5.6 million a year in civil asset forfeiture, according to the Institute for Justice, a couple's home was seized in 2014 after their son was arrested on charges of making a $40 drug sale there. A case against the city's forfeiture practices was finally settled last year. Justice Ginsburg suggested the effect of the ruling could be limited. All 50 states, she wrote, quote, have a constitutional provision prohibiting the imposition of excessive fines either directly or by requiring proportionality, unquote. Wednesday's decision may influence how state courts interpret those provisions, and they may use them to scrutinize civil forfeitures more closely. But again, this won't stop the actual act of the stealing of a car or a house or something like that.
And every state constitution that I've studied, literally there is a clause in there that says property shall not be taken without just cause except for judgment by a jury, or like an eminent domain thing is generally added to these things afterwards. But obviously they just like we know
do it
they
anyway.
Just bypass all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. The Supreme Court already ruled most of the protections in the Bill of Rights, which had originally restricted the power of only the federal government, also applied to the states under the Fourth Amendment. The court left open the question of whether the seizure of Mr. Tim's Land Rover amounted to an excessive fine, leaving its resolution to lower courts. But Justice Ginsburg suggested the penalty was disproportionate to the offense, writing the vehicle was worth more than 4 times the maximum $10,000 monetary fine assessable against him for his drug conviction. Justice Clarence Thomas agreed with the result in the case, but said he would have gotten to the same place by a different route. While majority on Wednesday relied on the due process clause of the 14th Amendment, Thomas said he would have ruled, quote, the right to be free from excessive fines is one of the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States protected by the 14th Amendment.
That's right, because only 14th Amendment U.S. citizens have privileges and immunities, to where state nationals, like Gronsky talks about, have rights that are, protected by the Constitution. Is, just to clarify, the way these guys write their things. He's very accurate.
They're very careful. They're very careful. And what you're talking about, the state citizen, for those that weren't tuned in recently to our interview with Christopher Gronsky, can you describe what that is?
And actually, you had another fella on when you were in Acapulco. It was not Gronsky that was talking about this also. I forget his...
There was one who touched on it as well, yeah.
And I thought it was Gronsky when I was listening, but you didn't say his name, and I would have recognized the voice. But basically, the idea is, they talk about when, like, I went and got a passport. And Gronsky helped me out with this.
Oh, really?
And so I have a passport, and I have no social security number. I don't participate in any of this stuff. And so either the passport, you either declare that you're a United States citizen, or the State Department has instructed that you declare what it is or who it is you are. So what I declared is that I'm not a United States citizen. I am not a 14th Amendment citizen. That I am a state citizen of the nation state of New Hampshire, not the state of New Hampshire, the one that was incorporated in 1869. I am, I don't participate. And then we get into the definitions with Public Policy 1864, or Public Law 1864, which was basically redefining a whole bunch of words that Congress did, but nobody was paying attention while what Congress is doing during this time period. You had, the southern states working on seceding and stuff, and very few people understand this, but the word state is literally defined as the District of Columbia.
The United States.
Well, the term state is defined as United States or District of Columbia in some things, but District of Columbia specifically is what the word state means in almost all state statutes, including New Hampshire's.
Really?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay, that's news to me. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We can talk a little bit more about the idea of a state citizen on the way. Also, if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. Plus, the Venezuela, the latest there out of, or the question of what's going to happen if the U.S. invades, which, of course, is probably nothing good. More coming up.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
Researchers have definitively concluded that all of it, is some kind of sick joke. The Princeton study suggests that the entirety of existence, including time, marriage, migratory patterns of birds, continental drift, life itself, photosynthesis, human society, and the changing of the seasons, are all part of a massive, twisted ruse orchestrated by a spiteful cosmos.
Look at you morons, taking a stupid video for your pointless newspaper. Everything's a joke. I'm a joke, you're a joke, the whole universe is a joke.
We at the Onion Week in Review are compelled to inform viewers that while this entire segment is indeed one small part of the giant perverse joke, the upshot is that the next minute of your life will be no more or less pointless than if you were to spend it with a loved one, mentoring an at-risk youth, or simply wallowing in your own feculence. In other news, Harley Davidson and Jack Daniels collaborate on a local felony. A churchgoer blanks on why she's lighting a votive candle. And please ring the bell and the boy will come round momentarily for your bags. For more news, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial, toll free, bring up whatever you want here. Our number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Big thanks to Tony M., who is a Free Talk Live Platinum amplifier, and Platinum means Tony is giving $25 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. You go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there. And we only ask for $5 a month, by the way. Tony's gone above and beyond the requests that we make, which is $5 a month. You get some cool perks, and basically everybody gets the same perks no matter what the level of amping. So please help us out over at amp.freetalklive.com. You can learn more about the program there and how it's helping us get on more radio stations, bring new internet listeners on board, and hopefully we're going to have some big news to announce about one of our existing stations coming up very, very soon. So I'm excited about that. And we're currently in the process of pitching some stations that are going to be losing some shows within the next couple of months. There's John Gibson, the former Fox talk show host. He's ending his radio career. And a progressive talk show host named Norman Goldman, for whatever reason he apparently pronounces it that way, is also calling it quits because he's losing money. So Free Talk Live is going to be hopefully filling in some of those gaps with those stations, and look forward to announcing the good news when we can officially do that. But if you want to help us get on more radio stations, we're on about 194 right now from coast to coast inside the United States and even beyond, all the way out to Guam. You can help us out over at amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. So we've been talking about the civil asset forfeiture. There's a bit of a piece in the New York Times, but we were getting into this idea of state citizenship, which I think is very, very interesting. Now, Jay, you said that the definition of state has to do with the District of Columbia in state definitions, meaning like it says somewhere in New Hampshire statutes, and you verified this, that it's the United States? That doesn't make any sense because the word state is all over the place in state statutes, and it's talking about New Hampshire, isn't it?
Right. So what happened is the United States became an actual incorporation in like the 1860s something. Like,
yeah,
part of this 1864 thing, the United States got a corporate charter, and the United States is this 10 square mile area of the District of Columbia. The words United States and District of Columbia should be synonymous with each other anytime you're reading them in law. And
right. That's what I heard from Christopher Grosky.
Right. So when you look at New York state statute, Colorado state statute, and even New Hampshire, and in New Hampshire it says it a few different places. I was actually Googling it a few weeks ago. I did write down on a notepad. I was doing a little research on this because I was in a little bit of a debate with some people who, are just telling me I'm, full of baloney. Mm-hmm. And it does say in the New Hampshire or the RSAs, the definition of state. And there's definition sections all through the RSAs everywhere,
sure,
for like motor vehicles and for like land use and all this stuff. But the definition of the word state, it says state includes District of Columbia.
Huh.
And
I want to see this. You're going to show it to me.
I will. And,
right.
and then there's another part where it says includes United States. In Colorado, it's pretty clear. It says state includes District of Columbia. And when the word includes is used in statutory construction, in the statutory construction manual or whatever, like every state has one of these. Like in Massachusetts, it's Chapter 5 of I can't
it's
remember.
The rules of statutes.
Yeah, it's basically how the statutes are arranged and how to understand statutory construction section. And it says when the word includes is used, it means includes only. And actually, Gronsky talks about how includes means includes only in all this, uniform commercial code, which was adopted by most of the states in 1923. That's when it was adopted by Massachusetts, and then all these city and town charters are all written in this uniform commercial code like stylization.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyways, the state includes District of Columbia or includes United States, and then I've seen it, and I don't know. I think this
or
is
state of New Hampshire.
So actually in New Hampshire, like Renee years ago got a ticket and she showed it to me and it said state versus Renee, whatever her last name is, I don't remember. And so I actually started bringing this up to her because I'm like, well, the first thing you need to know is who is state, and let them say whatever they're gonna say. And if you put the cop on the stand, then you bring up this thing where under the Motor Vehicle Code, RSA, whatever, it defines state as, and it's either United States or District of Columbia, or it could be both of them. I don't really remember then I had found it like talking to her about it one day, and but I've had fought tickets in New York and Vermont because I think it's Vermont. It says United States and District of Columbia, and it says, well, if the state of Vermont, the word state means District of Columbia, so District of Columbia, Vermont. I'm confused. I don't understand. What does Vermont have to do with the District of Columbia? Well, that particular traffic ticket in Vermont, basically the cop's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and the judge was like, well, we've heard enough. I'm going to dismiss this case. He just didn't let it go anymore.
This was your case?
This was my case, like 2008 in Vermont. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I would do things like ask the cops, definitions of words. They didn't know, like the definition of the word traffic is buying, selling, or trading. Commerce, alcohol trafficking, drug trafficking. And when you get a traffic ticket, I ask them if I was engaged in commerce at the time. Was I trafficking anything? And or I'd say, do you know the definition of the word traffic as it applies to the code? And they would say, oh yeah, driving to and from, driving in your car. And I said, well, it doesn't say anything like that in the word, traffic as it's defined in the code. So there's all kinds of things you could trip them up on because, nobody can know the definitions of all the words and all the, especially, these cops, half of them don't even understand the laws that they're allegedly enforcing.
I'm surprised the judge didn't just overrule your question.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to ask that.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I object, and I tell the judge that, he's going to have to, basically get a, I said to one judge once, I said, well, it sounds like you might be explaining to appeals court how it is, you can rule out actual definitions of actual words that are within the statute. But usually, like when I start, the thing I think happens with me most time in court is they're like, I'm not low-hanging fruit, and they don't want anybody getting educated.
Yeah.
So anyways,
they'll dismiss the case because of that. They don't want to show.
I really believe that happens most of the time. So getting back to the whole state citizen thing with Gronsky, and a lot of people do this is when I did the passport, we give these examples, and it's in the
How long was the attachment to this passport application?
Mine is definitely a couple pages longer than most of them because I'm a little more radical.
Yep.
And I want to be extra clear about things. So mine was 9, but I think generally they're about 7.
Okay.
The one that Gronsky prepares but even Gronsky's is really good. I just added 2 more things that I wanted to put to it.
So basically, the idea is this is what he said on the air last weekend was that you essentially check some box that says that you're going to add a statement to the back of the paperwork, essentially explaining why you're not a U.S. citizen or something like that, or what you are exactly if not a U.S. citizen. But he argues that the United States has 3 different definitions. He says that according to a Supreme Court case in the past, that United States can mean either like the District of Columbia. It can mean the sort of alliance of the states generally, so it could include the state, and so anyone who's a state citizen is still part of the United States, is what he argues. And I forget the third.
The third one is any geographical territory considered within the Federation of the States, because all the United States is a federation of independent sovereign nations. New York and Massachusetts are independent sovereign nations.
They were, in theory.
And they still are. The thing is I would say they're pretty much not occupied. As far as I'm concerned, the nation of New Hampshire is literally occupied by like myself and maybe 25 or 30 other people. That's about it that I can tell.
You mean as far as you're the people who are aware of the idea of state citizen, and you are the only ones who are state citizens? The rest of them are U.S. national citizens, basically?
Well, so the state of New Hampshire is I say is part of the flat Earth because it's just a name on paper.
You don't actually believe the Earth is flat, right?
No, I don't believe the Earth is flat.
Thank God.
But I have the flat Earth theory. I got to polish up a little more. I'm not super good at explaining. I got to practice it some more. But basically, it goes something like, the District of Columbia is a corporation. It's a name on a piece of paper, and it incorporated this other corporation it calls it the State of New Hampshire. And the State of New Hampshire is this name on a piece of paper. That's all it is. It's just an incorporation. And then
that's all corporations are.
That's all they are. Just that's all the State of New Hampshire is. It's a name on paper. And the flat Earth, the piece of paper that a baby's footprint goes on when they're born, was created by the state of New Hampshire or the state of whatever. And that's like the first land baby steps on is.
We're getting esoteric here, folks. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got hour 3 coming up.
Pain in my neck, back, and shoulders has really gotten worse.
Relief for body pain is here with Sunny Bay heating pads.
Well, the last thing I want is to take another pill, so what's so good about Sunny Bay heating pads?
Sunny Bay heating pads, made by Biomed DB Design right here in the USA, come in all sizes. Our extra-large microwavable heating pad for back pain is designed to be large enough to cover your entire back. It's also perfect to wrap around your legs, knees, or shoulder and neck.
But I need to know they're good quality.
Of course, Sunny Bay heating pads and pillows are often an Amazon choice, and it's easy and most affordable when you purchase your Sunny Bay heating pads right from our website, sunshinepillows.com, or call us 253-678-1361.
Hey, a Sunny Bay heating pad
Would make a great gift, right?
Yes, and they start at just $19.99 and free shipping is available. So call 253-678-1361 or shop for your Sunny Bay heating pad at sunshinepillows.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,344. Silver opened at $16.01, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,913. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Takeoff with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Michigan may be joining 11 other states that require a criminal conviction before any asset forfeiture. The Detroit Free Press reports that police and prosecutors will be prohibited from seizing cash and property from people accused of a crime until they are convicted on the charges, under a bill passed in the state Senate on Wednesday. The Free Thought Project reports that law enforcement seized more than $13 million in cash from civil asset forfeitures in 2017. Of the 6,662 cases, more than half did not involve someone convicted of a crime. In the report from the Free Thought Project, taking property from people who have been convicted of no crime sounds a lot like legalized robbery. California, Connecticut, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oregon, and Vermont are all states requiring a criminal conviction to strip someone of their rightful property. 3 states, North Carolina, New Mexico, and Nebraska, have abolished civil forfeiture entirely. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. The Pentagon is hoping to make telepathy a part of its arsenal in the near future. Activist Post reports it's the latest program of the Department for Advanced Research Projects Agency, known as DARPA. The Defense Department Research Office tasked with developing breakthrough technologies and innovations for the U.S. Armed Forces. According to Defense One, DARPA is seeking to explore technologies that would link the brains and bodies of troops to a range of military applications through artificial intelligence, equip neural interfaces that allow troops to control machines with their thoughts alone. In its quest for unquestioned battlefield dominance and the minimization of troop losses, the U.S. military has long been attracted to the potential power that AI may unlock. and has spent billions upon billions of dollars in pursuit of autonomous and semi-automated weapon systems that bring to mind dystopian science fiction films like RoboCop and The Terminator. As the pool of candidates vying for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president continues to grow, so does a sustained and ongoing push to spread lies about them on social media, with one key aim being to sow division among progressive voters. That's according to an alarming political report published Wednesday. Citing analysis by and conversations with data scientists and digital campaign strategists, the outlet reported that researchers and others interviewed say they cannot conclusively point to the actors behind the coordinated activity. And it's unclear if they are rogue hackers, political activists, or, as some contend, foreign state actors such as Russia. One of the objectives of the activity is to divide the left by making the Democratic presidential primary as chaotic and toxic as possible. The anti-media reports that research by the pro-democracy tech firm Guardians.ai found that Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, as well as former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, appear to be the top targets. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, February 20th, 2019, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
People love photography. But when we thought about photography, we realized one thing. Humans are limited to looking at photos with our eyes. That's a problem, right? So we made an app, PicSong, the first program that turns your photos into music if you want to do that for some reason. It puts the power in your hands. You get to decide why you need this. I can't tell you why you need this. It's not my job. Who is this app for? Maybe it's for students, or artists, or blind people. But can it turn your music into photos? No, it can't. Do you get to keep the original photo? No, it gets deleted. Always back up your photos before using PicSong.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Launching into the third hour here, you can take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can also jump into our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Super easy to do that. And by the way, thanks to FXOX Grind, who subscribed tonight on our Twitch channel. We haven't talked about the Twitch channel enough recently, so Twitch is our way of you being able to watch the show. I guess the reason we haven't talked about it is because we were in Anarchapulco, or we were at Anarchapulco, and so therefore we did not have any Twitch feed whatsoever during that time frame. But now we're back on Twitch since we're back in our Keene, New Hampshire studios, and that is your preferred way to watch the video feed. We are still on YouTube, but they have a lower resolution feed that's just not as high quality. So if you want to see the best quality video feed from this studio, you can just go to twitch.lrn.fm and you can watch us there. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Jay, Vincent.
All right, so Vincent, let's see here. I don't know. Is there more to say about state citizens? Probably.
Yeah, we could go on about it forever.
I'm sure we could. Let's get into Venezuela, because right there, there's a serious problem with their government. It's even worse than many in the world at the moment. The hyperinflation is, of course, devastating the economy in Venezuela. We actually talked with a guy at Anarchapulco who produced a documentary about cryptocurrency being introduced to Venezuelans, and the thousands, apparently, of businesses that are now accepting cryptocurrency for payments there, like Dash or Bitcoin, BTC. So some very, very exciting stuff happening down there in the midst of an absolute living hell. Vincent, where's the story from, and what is it?
So the story is from a site that I've only just heard of. It's called In These Times, and doing a cursory look, it's as what some people might say, like a classical liberal or true progressive type slant, where it's not. They don't.
Classical liberals generally libertarian.
Well, yeah, okay, I get. Okay, so classically progressive or
Okay.
progressive. So like
Progressive.
they would praise AOC and you know her ilk and criticize the the establishment Democrats like Rahm Emanuel here and such. So it's it's not it's its own thing, which I respect.
Okay, let's hear it.
And it's published today, and it's titled U.S. Invasion of Venezuela would be a nightmare for its people.
Sure would.
Under the pretext of delivering...
An even worse nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
yeah,
already a nightmare just living down there for a lot of them. They can't even get food in a lot of cases.
And then add that on top, bombings, shootings,
Right.
gas, occupation. Under the pretext of delivering aid, Trump is threatening to unleash military violence. And this is written by a fellow named Michael Fox. On Monday, Trump issued an ultimatum to Venezuela's troops. Either defect and back Juan Guaido, the United States' man in Venezuela, or suffer. If you choose this path, you will find no safe harbor, no easy exit, and no way out. You will lose everything, he said during a speech while he was visiting with a Venezuelan community in Miami. It's the latest in a slow-moving U.S. effort to topple Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro that has seen the United States back National Assembly President Juan Guaido in his grab for the presidency and impose a second round of devastating sanctions on Venezuela, blocking it from crucial oil revenue from sales in the United States.
They even locked down bank accounts. So if there were bank accounts in the United States for the state of Venezuela, because again, they do have oil businesses here, they locked those down and then they actually transferred them to Juan Guaido.
So, the U.S. government isn't just satisfied with wealth distribution within its borders. Now it's doing some international wealth redistribution. Right. The latest phase of a coup centers on tons of humanitarian aid that the United States is trying to force into the country. Over the weekend, U.S. military C-17 cargo planes landed in Colombia carrying aid for Venezuela. It's the second attempt by the United States to carry aid into the country, a move the UN has warned against and which Venezuela sees as laying the groundwork for a U.S. military deployment. Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, who is wary of the true U.S. intentions, has refused to allow assistance across the border. Juan Guaido said the aid will enter Venezuela on February 23rd and has called on Venezuelans to mobilize across the country and form aid, quote, caravans and a, quote, humanitarian avalanche at the border. A very interesting choice of language there. This is setting the scene for conflict, and that is exactly what the United States and Guaido are looking for. Any actions by the Venezuelan military to condone or instigate violence against peaceful civilians at the Colombian and Brazilian borders will not be forgotten. Leaders still have time to make the right choice.
Who said that?
White House National Secretary Advisor John Bolton.
Okay.
He didn't say it, Ian. He tweeted it on Tuesday night. And yeah, John Bolton he's a gigantic war hawk. He's anytime there's any sort of foreign intervention talk, he's around. Anytime Fox News wants to bring him out. And yeah, as soon as he entered Trump's cabinet, that's when Trump launched a missile strike against Syria.
There's another classical scumbag that's involved with this Venezuela thingy. His name is Elliot Abrams.
The Iran-Contra affair. Yeah.
And RT did a really good thing about him. I actually stream RT when I'm like working in my shop a lot. I really enjoy their perspective on America and their politics. But
the Kremlin propaganda?
Yes. So this guy's a U.S. diplomat, and he was convicted on Iran-Contra stuff. He was also
he was pardoned too. Like he was convicted for lying and was pardoned.
Right, and he was basically responsible. There's a Muslim Democrat congresswoman. She always wears the hijab thing, and RT had a thing where she's just grilling him about the 70,000 people. It was in El Salvador. 70,000 El Salvadorians in like the 80s during the Reagan administration were killed, And she did a really good job tearing his dude apart in this congressional thing. And he literally was like, "No, I can't really answer that." And and she's like, "Yes or no?" And but basically, she's like, the conclusion she put together was that all the same stuff they're saying right now about Venezuela was the same exact pretext that they used with this same thug, Elliot Abrams, to go into El Salvador. They it was all done on healthcare stuff and medicine and
humanitarian supplies.
Humanitarian supplies. But it was all humanitarian supplies were supposed to be sending in, but they were sending guns to the the rebels or whoever, and munitions and like
aspirin, Band-Aids, Uzi, magazine, 9mm.
Exactly. And these guys got like busted, and it was like CIA planes were flying it in, and
you're saying the same dude's involved in the Venezuela thing?
Oh, this woman on RT, she's a I forget her name. I should just Google it, but she's a Muslim or Islam. She wears the headdress thing, and she was grilling them. I mean, she's awesome. It was
Il. I forget her name. Ilran.
Yes.
So she was. Yeah, she's the new Somali.
From Michigan, right?
Michigan. She got in trouble for criticizing AIPAC, and Trump, which Trump is calling for her to not only step down from the Foreign Affairs Committee, but also to resign from Congress in total.
And she's like the only one really asking hard questions.
Wow.
But she and none of this is said on any American media, and
only RT has the story.
And RT's getting harassed now by the United States government that they got to register as a foreign agent and all this stuff.
Right.
I've been hearing.
Yeah, they had to. That was last year.
Okay.
I wonder if a BBC would be forced to do the same thing.
Good question.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but they just thought it Elliot Abrams. I mean, this guy is like, just Google him in El Salvador and Iran-Contra. Everything this dude's been involved in, he's like literally Hitler. And when it comes to the amount of bodies that start stacking up. This guy's an evil goon. And then there was an ambush report outside an RT guy, outside the parking lot. I mean, it was like when I saw it was like Ian Freeman asking the meter maid questions here in Keene while Robin Hooding, and this dude just walking with raw footage, and he's like, yeah, all these people died. How do you feel about that? And is this what you're gonna do to Venezuela now? And he wouldn't say anything, of course.
We got more coming up here. You've got more to this story about what's going on in Venezuela, and apparently it's got some echoes of the past involved here. If it worked before, they'll try it again. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition. The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 items you must have to survive a crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, and take control of the airwaves here. Talking about the latest out of Venezuela. What will happen if the U.S. government gets involved with the military? Vincent's got the story about that. Ian, Jay, and Vincent here in the studio. Our toll-free number for you to take control of the airwaves, if you want, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. AnyPay is now available as a payment method online. We've talked about how AnyPay is primarily focused on local merchants accepting cryptocurrency, but they've now broken into the online world as well with egifter.com. So if you've been looking for a way to spend your cryptocurrency, specifically Dash in this case, on gift cards, you can now do it through eGifter. egifter.com, go there, buy whatever gift card you want, put it in your shopping cart, check out with Dash, and it'll be AnyPay's system that you use to make
I
the
actually
payment.
did it 2 weeks ago.
How was it?
Oh, it was actually really quick.
What gift card?
Home Depot gift card.
Sweet.
And I literally forgot my money, and I was out plowing, and I needed to get some salt for a customer at Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I got no money. And then, because Derek J. he's like, sent me a text message. He's like, hey, try this out.
Try it out. Yeah.
And so I just did a $50 gift card. And I did it, and then I went and did more plowing, more shoveling, and then like an hour later, I looked tonight, and I had gotten an email, and in a gift card, you just show them it's like a QR code, and they scan it.
So you don't actually have to get a plastic card in the mail.
No. It
comes an email, so it's almost instant then, like very fast.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool.
I don't know if they all do that, but Home Depot does that anyway.
Right.
I don't know if you're going to get that.
That makes sense
for like Joe's whatever. But
so then Home Depot scans the QR code.
Yeah, you just bring it up in the email, and it's
on your phone.
It was a barcode, I think, actually.
Yeah.
And and I spent like $47. There's like $3 left on it or something.
Sweet.
$2, yeah.
So it worked out. And you paid Dash.
Yeah, I use Dash. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's fast because AnyPay is amazing and they're super efficient.
And Dash transactions, just everyone I've ever done has just been like, bam, right there. There's just no waiting around for it.
Get over to AnyPay.global, by the way, is where you can learn more about AnyPay, but I just wanted to let you know about the e-gifter thing because I think it's pretty cool. Normally, AnyPay is all about helping merchants accept cryptocurrency, and that's what they do. So if you are a merchant and you want to accept crypto, then get over to AnyPay.global, get signed up there, and get started. You can accept Bitcoin, BTC, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Zcash, and others over at AnyPay.global. As we go to your calls and thoughts, we have David on the line in New Mexico, and then more on the way about Venezuela. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, hijab as opposed to hibab.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I didn't know if there was a different one called a hibab. I had no idea.
Well, I call it a head job because that's who wears it. It's a head job.
That's your opinion. Go ahead with your thoughts.
My dad calls it a burqa beekeeper suits.
Now, those are different, by the way, the hijab versus the burqa. Burqa covers the entire face with the exception, or not, I think it even covers the eyes, if I'm...
it's like it has like a screen.
Yeah,
That's
got a screen. Right. Anyway, go ahead, David. What were you calling about?
Well, that is what I'm calling about, because and the next thing is Minnesota as opposed to Michigan. Remember, we had this conversation the other night. The neighborhood they sent 80,000 Somalis to is where I grew up. In Minnesota, and that's where I believe it is Ilhan Omar is coming from.
Oh, I thought she came from Dearborn, Michigan. That's not the case. I don't pay any attention to these people.
I think there's probably a lot of Somalis there too, so it's easy for one to get confused.
Yeah, Dearborn, I believe, is more Arab, whereas Somalis are African Muslims. Then you were talking about the Ilhan Omar and Elliot Abrams, and I think what was going on there. First of all, I heard a segment of it. I didn't see the visual. I heard a few seconds of it, and the few seconds of it that I heard, I thought that Abrams was more in the right than the Omar. But like I said, it was out of context. I didn't hear the full thing. But she was attacking him, and there's a greater point here. But I'm starting with the smaller point. So the smaller point is that she was attacking him and not giving him a chance to comment or to reply to what she was attacking him with. And that's the smaller point. The larger issue is what I see going on when we have Ms. Omar in our government attacking someone else in our government, Omar being a Muslim and Elliot Abrams being a Jew. What I see is that the Muslims and the Jews are using our government and our country as a forum, a venue, a resource provider to fight out their tens of or thousands of years old, and, well, I guess not thousands, if you want to talk about Islam starting in the year, whatever it was, 600, 700, whatever it was, 7th century. So 7th century to now, a little over 1,000-year fight. That's what I see going on is you have a Muslim and a Jew fighting instead of fighting back where they originated, but using our country, our government, our money to carry on their fight. And which goes to another greater issue is that there is a plethora of those types of people using our government and our country to fight that age-old fight that started out in the Middle East, and they're using our resources to continue it. So what do you think about that?
Well, that's the government for you. I mean, they steal your money, and then they do things with it you don't like. Thanks for the call tonight. More coming up here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So we were talking about Venezuela, and Vincent, you had a story from, where was it again?
In these times.
In these times.
And so this next paragraph, it's about using humanitarian aid as a weapon. Both the United Nations and the Red Cross warned the United States against using aid deliveries to Venezuela as a political tool. And you know, I'm just going to add this one thing here in this person's article. It's making like sort of like the UN looking like the good guys. But in my view, the UN is just like, it sort of acts as a foil because, you know, obviously the UN has all sorts of terrible, corrupt schemes going on that, you know, that makes them, you know, U.S. the UN U.S. like partners in crime or something. But yeah, in this case, that's just my opinion. The UN is not the good guy.
No, I mean, look at all the cases where the UN peacekeepers have raped children.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
The blue helmets.
Yep.
And not that I'm saying the UN should do anything, even if, say, they were in the right on this. I'm just pointing out. Yeah, I just felt the need to point that out.
Thank you for that.
Humanitarian action needs to be independent of political, military, or other objectives. UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric.
That would be what true humanitarians do. This is a government agency, and of course they are not humanitarian. Everything they do is political. So, I mean, their critiques are absolutely spot on here of the U.S. government.
Venezuela does accept international support. The Red Cross doubled its budget for Venezuela in recent weeks to 18 million Swiss francs.
Yeah, but the problem is when they say Venezuela, what they mean is the Venezuelan government. So, yeah, of course the government's going to accept any kind of support and keep it for the government. They're not going to actually give it to the people.
Or in Maduro's case, probably keep it for the military just to keep their loyalty.
Yeah, keep it for their agents. There's more on the way here. You've got that story. We'll continue here. Also, another headline out of Venezuela from today at CNN. Venezuela closes key maritime air borders with neighbors amid growing aid crisis. They're trying to lock down the borders even further during all of this. There's more coming up here. Our number's 855-450 free if you want to join us. It's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in here, toll free. Take control of the airwaves. Bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, the Discord on-air call-in lines are available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Jay. Vincent.
Also, want to make sure you know about ForkFest. It's coming soon. About 4 months away now. From ForkFest 2019. It is forkfest.party, is unofficial website where you can go there. Everything with ForkFest is unofficial because, well, no one's in charge, which means that everybody is in charge of themselves. You get to decide what you create at ForkFest. Last year, Jay Noon, you did your wedding at ForkFest.
That's right. And this year, I'm doing man camp.
Man camp.
I'm bringing up the forge, the anvil, and I want kids to create some metal, and I'm also going to do a group effort on building some kind of iron art, metal art thing for Free Ross, and then I want to have people like either like make something, like I want everybody to make a little piece of this Free Ross art. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. I'm looking for ideas. I want help with it. Because at the end of PorkFest, we're doing an auction for the Free Ross benefit. And I want to auction this off, so yeah, I'm geared up. I did a whole a couple hours on Ernie Hancock's show about this a few weeks ago.
Declare Your Independence.
Declare Your Independence. It's on in the morning on LRN, and I'm really excited about ForkFest this year. We're going to put some serious effort into it, and I want to teach some skills to some people.
It's going to be June 13th through the 18th, so prepare yourself now. If you're planning on attending the Porcupine Freedom Festival, that starts immediately after. So on the last day of ForkFest is the first day of PorkFest. So if you want to make it an entire 10 or 11-day camping excursion, you can totally do that. And you'll be able to compare kind of the differences between a centrally organized event like PorkFest and a completely decentralized event like ForkFest. Now, of course, PorkFest has a decade plus on ForkFest. I think PorkFest is in year number 15 this year, and ForkFest is in year number 3.
And they're both a lot of fun.
Yeah,
they really are.
They're totally different events, but yet they happen at the same campground, Rogers Campground. Absolutely beautiful location. And because ForkFest is decentralized, there's no central committee or board of directors that's in charge of it. That means there's no ticket. So you just show up at the campground and get your campsite, and then hang out with other liberty-minded folks, whether they be voluntarists or libertarians or anarchists. Hang out and camp and, just chill out or create something like Jay's going to do. Maybe you want to put on a musical performance. Maybe you want to throw a party. Maybe you want to do something completely different. It's up to you. Go to forkfest.party. You can learn the basics about the event there. And there's a forum link, and there's a chat room for Telegram as well. I know last year there were 2 different competing calendars of events for ForkFest, so I don't know how many calendars we're going to have this year or what events are going to be on it, but now's the time when people are going to start to think about that stuff. So check it out at forkfest.party. Now, Vincent, in Venezuela, it is a pretty tough time. I imagine that not many people can even afford to throw a party in Venezuela because the money there continues to devalue at an incredible clip with hyperinflation. And at the same time, the governments of the world, specifically the United States, are playing politics with the aid situation there. They're sending aid into Colombia and basically with political strings attached to it, right?
Oh, it goes on here. There might be even more strings attached to it. We have here, I'll just continue. Maduro announced that 300 tons of medicine and other aid would arrive from Russia on Wednesday, although this has been barely mentioned in the U.S. media. And I'll add to that, when doing research for this topic, it's just all pro-Guaido, all pro, and the language they use too, regime when it talks about Maduro, which it is,
right,
but,
for sure.
that's to imply that Guaido, when he gets in, if he gets into power,
he
it's
won't
not
have
going to be
regime.
a regime. Yeah. Well, yeah. So as Adam Johnson pointed out earlier this month for Fairness, Accuracy, and Reporting, the U.S. aid is nothing more than a PR stunt. If the United States wanted to send aid to Venezuela, it'd be doing it through the Red Cross and other organizations that are already working in the country with the consent of the Maduro government. Instead, it is looking to create conflict. Quote, the cost of his blockade is over $30 billion, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Jorge Araiza told reporters at the United Nations, referring to the cost of the U.S. sanctions. And they're sending this so-called humanitarian aid for $20 million? So what is this? I'm choking you, I'm killing you, and then I'm giving you a cookie? His words, that's a quote. The aid is actually not very large, and I don't know if it was translated or not, there's a different thing, but the aid is actually not very large. Trump said it will help the, quote, millions and millions in need, but according to a U.S. aid press release, the figure is in the thousands. A team from the New York Times visited a warehouse in Calcutta and estimated that it could maybe feed 100,000 people for one day. In the 1980s, the United States used aid shipments to shuttle weapons into the hands of Contras, who were trying to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. The man responsible for those shipments was Elliot Abrams, Trump's new special representative for Venezuela.
What's new again, or what's old again is new? Same guy from the 80s.
It's amazing how history just repeats itself decade after decade.
And that no one was smart enough to choose someone else or to tell Trump, this guy kind of has a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
And so this next part actually talks about, you alluded to it with a different piece, the border situation. Not, most people are talking about the U.S. border situation. In this case, it's the Venezuelan-Colombian border situation. It's called Showdown at the Border. Now, British billionaire Richard Branson is weighing in. He is planning to hold a Live Aid-inspired concert on Friday in Calcutta along the Venezuelan-Colombian border, the day before Guaido's deadline. He says his goal is to raise more money for aid and to get shipments across. He admitted that the show came at the request of Guaido and opposition leader Leopoldo Lopez. But Maduro says the United States is using the supposed humanitarian crisis as a pretext for military invasion. This comes several weeks after Bolton appeared at a White House press briefing with a yellow clipboard on which the words 5,000 troops to Colombia were written. Colombian President Ivan Duque was in Washington last week to discuss the Venezuelan situation with Donald Trump. He has called for Maduro to step down and has recognized Guaido as interim president, though he has been tight-lipped about the question of whether he would allow U.S. troops into the country from which to launch a potential invasion of Venezuela.
Yeah, I sure hope not, man, because Trump has done some good things for peace. Obviously, he still dropped bombs on innocent people in parts of the Middle East, and that's not good. But he has worked on brokering peace with Kim Jong-un, and that was pretty historic. And they are expected to have another meeting, I think, relatively soon, if I recall correctly.
Well, what I think this is, and this is just me guessing, I think it's because of all this, I don't want to blame anyone else for what the Trump administration is doing, but I think this is this whole thing, the intervention, let's say there is intervention, it would be to boost his poll ratings just because of the constant, the whole Russia thing, the constant controversies, all the stuff that he isn't doing, right, that the media is accusing him, plus all the bad stuff that he actually is doing. It's, alienating a lot of his core support. But so what's the best thing to do if you're losing support and an election is coming up? You start a war. Because usually, I believe historically, if a war is going well, then the sitting president is reelected. And so what Bill Clinton did in the 90s when he was having all these scandals, he ordered a missile strike at some, some aspirin.
Against Bosnia, I thought?
Yeah, he did do that. Yeah, no, it wasn't just a missile strike. It was a total bombing campaign and destroyed the country. He had ordered a missile strike that destroyed an aspirin factory somewhere in Africa, claiming that it was creating weapons. And so, I think this is all just like playing. It's sort of like, you have like it's like a risk board in Washington, right? All these these playing politics and stuff for, Trump's own personal gain or the party's gain, the state's gain, whatever, at the expense of another country and millions of people. That's what I think it is.
Is there more to the story?
Oh, yeah. What I could say is that we are working actively, decidedly, for the liberation of the Venezuelan people, Duque told Bricio Segovia, a journalist with the U.S. government. The U.S. government news service, Voice of America.
That's what it is.
So it's propaganda.
That's what that is. Yeah, that's what Voice of America is.
Absolutely. It's no different than the BBC or RT,
Correct.
Except it's their propaganda,
That's
so
right.
it's okay.
No, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. And there's no reason why you shouldn't live to be at least 100 and have a great time getting there. And I'm going to give you a free copy of my lecture that tells you exactly how to do it. In fact, after you've lived a long and healthy life, there should be only 2 documents in your medical chart, a birth certificate and a death certificate. I'm Dr. Wallach with a warning. If you have a 4-inch medical chart, if you take prescription drugs for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, arthritis, joint pains, and other health issues, the medical profession is failing you. They're using you for an ATM machine. My free lecture is going to reveal what pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know. There's been groundbreaking research and discoveries on how to effectively treat or eliminate over 900 different diseases naturally, and it's all in my free lecture called Deadly Recipe. So call toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. Again, that's toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. 1-855-79-YOUNG.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Jay, and Vincent.
We're talking about foreign issues, specifically Venezuela, where the U.S. government is waving around a bunch of aid for the purposes of getting its way when it comes to the political I don't know if stalemate is the right term, conflict, the ongoing conflict that's happening in Venezuela between two different men who are claiming to be the president of the country. One, Nicolas Maduro, who was the president. He's claiming he's now in a second term. And then Juan Guaido, who is the opposition, claiming he is now the president. And different country governments of the world have been lining up on and taking one side or the other. So Russia, for instance, Cuba, they are on the side of Maduro. The United States and many Latin American countries are on the side of Guaido. So now you have the U.S. government claiming, we want to give aid to people. We're just humanitarians.
The U.S. government wanting to give aid to Venezuela, all I can think of is like the Hells Angels bikers. You know, once a year they do Toys for Tots. So we got, toys in one saddlebag for the kids that we're going to drop off, but we got heroin and meth in the other saddlebag of our Harley Davidson. And, but we do take and, lighten up the heroin and meth trading a little bit and send some of our boys out there to, go make some, noise about Toys for Tots.
Is it the Hells Angels who are behind Toys for Tots?
They do a thing in California. It's real big, and like the Hells Angels and the state trooper or the California Highway Patrol.
No way. They team up.
They they donate. They bring all the toys. This was like something I had seen something on TV years ago. Like when I was like 20 some odd years ago. This was a thing, and I'm like. And I think it was my uncle. My uncle's like, those guys run like tons of heroin and cocaine. That's like their deal, right? And I didn't really understand much about it, but maybe I was a teenager.
So bringing joy to adults and children alike.
I guess.
Wow. All right, Vincent. Was there more to the story you thought was worth sharing?
Yep. Absolutely, absolutely. Here, this. I'll just continue. Here's the lead in and of itself. Last week, Cuba accused the United States of sending special forces. Sending special forces to Puerto Rico and other Caribbean islands with a goal of toppling President Nicolas Maduro. U.S. media have been helping to build the case for invasion by repeating the U.S. government line on Venezuela and failing to point out the complexities of a crisis. Bloomberg went so far as to propose that perhaps there are positive invasions after all. It published, right? They used to call it I don't know if they use invasion, but there's intervention. So I wonder if they actually use the term invasion.
Yeah, tell that to the people who get killed in the crossfire during all these invasions.
Tell that to the 75 folks from El Salvador who were literally slaughtered under the this Elliot Abrams guy, 30 years ago doing this same shenanigans.
Well, they even have the headline here. It published an article on Saturday titled, quote, "In Venezuela's backyard, here's a U.S. invasion that ended well," which tried to paint the 1989 U.S. invasion of Panama as an example where the U.S. military intervention has gone right. The article left out the death and destruction. The estimated 3,500 killed. The estimated 3,500 killed. The Panama City neighborhood El Chirilo was so wiped out that ambulance drivers called it Little Hiroshima.
Wow.
A truth commission had to be set up to investigate the facts. Trump's rhetoric on Venezuela seems to point toward justifying military action by the United States or its proxies. "We want to restore Venezuelan democracy," Trump told Venezuelans in Miami. "The twilight hour of socialism has arrived in Venezuela and, frankly, many places around the world."
Hold on. The other guy's a socialist, too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, the United States is a socialist country.
Well, no, but Juan Guaido's like a socialist.
Oh, yeah.
He's just not Maduro. That's all.
Yeah, and he's just America's socialist puppet, and he gets installed, and then he's like, "Well, we don't need you anymore, America." And it's going to be like Syria.
No, he's going to be owned. He's going to be owned,
maybe for a little while.
It's like the U.S. owned the Philippines or the.
Didn't they own Saddam Hussein at one time?
Yep,
that's
didn't
true.
They own
and then they turned
Gaddafi at one time? Didn't they own?
Good point.
Bin Laden at one time. I mean,
Yeah, so that's what I suspect he's going to be, and some members of the Venezuelan government have even suggested that also, that he's an agent of
CIA.
Yeah, CIA, State Department, basically U.S. shenanigans.
There's a strong argument for that, yeah.
Final paragraph. Any resolution to the crisis by force will not end well. If the United States goes down this path, it will mean devastation for Venezuela and its citizens. Violent intervention could easily unleash a bloody civil war that would have repercussions across the region. Ironically, the louder Trump barks, the less support the United States is going to have in Venezuela for any action.
Any coincidence that Venezuela is yet another oil country? I mean, it seems like that's where the U.S. government over decades has focused its military involvement.
The talking heads on RT have definitely been talking about that China is heavily invested in Venezuela, and China is working on these deals to trade with Venezuela in oil, and put their oil on the Shanghai Energy Exchange, which is like you're not buying it in dollars in the Shanghai Energy Exchange. It's in the yuan. Yeah. This started like a year ago, or well, maybe 8 months ago. The Shanghai Energy Exchange, they
moved from the dollar.
Well, the energy exchange was created specifically to trade oil in the yuan and not the dollar. And then then I see things where they're talking about using cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
I have here, this is from September 7th, 2017. Venezuela's Maduro says we'll shun U.S. dollar in favor of the yuan.
It's a good way to get bombed.
What was it? Saddam, he wanted to move away from the dollar. Gaddafi wanted to move away from the dollar. Are you sensing a pattern here?
There's definitely a pattern there. Let's go to Rich Uncle Pennybags on our Discord call-in lines. Go ahead, Rich Uncle Pennybags. You're on Free Talk Live.
I was going to ask what you thought of Bill Weld running as the Republican.
Really? Well, I mean, what do you think?
He's just more of the same crap.
Yeah, I mean, for listeners that don't know, Bill Weld is the former libertarian, and I'm going to put quotes around that, candidate for vice president. And he used to be a Republican. He was the Republican governor of Massachusetts, so he's just rejoined the party that he was part of before. I mean, are people surprised by this?
A lot of people are, because Bill Weld made it very clear to a lot of people, including me in person, that he would never leave the Libertarian Party.
He's a politician.
And this is where he's gonna stay.
Now, wait a minute. Has he left the Libertarian Party, or has he just rejoined the Republicans? Because I can still be in the Libertarian Party and also be in the other parties.
He's going to try and primary against Trump, so I don't know what that entails.
I think I know what's going on here.
What?
He's going to attempt to primary Donald Trump, knowing full well he's never going to go anywhere.
Right.
And then he's going to take his tiny base from the Republican Party and try to bring them back to the Libertarians.
Party. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's predictable. This guy's all about Weld. He's a politician, so he lied to you. Although I bet
Drinks like a fish.
Well, that's what they say. I'll bet you if you confronted him again about this, if you encounter him again, and you said, "Bill, you told me that you weren't going to leave the Libertarians," he'll be like, "Oh, I never left the Libertarian Party. I just joined the Republicans." So he didn't lie. He'll claim he didn't lie. He just because again, I haven't left the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, but I've joined the Republicans. So I'm still a life member of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, but I'm not a registered Libertarian anymore because you can't be in New Hampshire. The Libertarian Party's lost its ballot access. So I joined the Republican Party.
A tiny, tiny part of me is really holding on to the hope that maybe he stays out and then Vora or Kokesh have a chance.
Who?
Vermin
Vora?
Supreme.
Oh, Vora. Arvin Vora. Yeah, I would love to see Vermin Supreme and John McAfee get the nomination.
Vermin is
Vermin Supreme.
Yeah, he's running as libertarian. That's what he told me at Liberty Forum, because I'm helping him out with bringing a pony with assault rifles on him.
Well, Vermin's done the same thing. He's ran as a Democrat and then also ran as a Libertarian in the same year. The Libertarians don't pick their nominee until the summertime. So if the Libertarians wanted to avoid this, they could choose their nominee in January, and then Weld wouldn't be able to do that.
I hope Weld gets a Libertarian nomination just because I want to see the drama. I want to see people at each other's throats. I want to see that god-awful organization calling itself a Libertarian Party collapse so something new and, I don't know, actually Libertarian can take its place.
Yeah,
that's why I'm running for LNC chair.
Oh, good Lord.
Wonderful.
You poor bastard.
Wonderful. This is great news, Ian. This is great news. That's right. They need change, right? And I 100% already support. I already endorse you, Rich Uncle Pennybags.
I don't care what happens to
Stephen Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay, Stefan.
I don't care what happens to the Libertarian Party, but if they actually nominate a decent candidate, I'll vote for him. Like if they actually
or her, Ian, you don't use gendered language, or them.
If Kokesh gets the nomination, I'd vote for Kokesh for sure. But if it's Weld, I'm probably going to vote for Trump. I mean, just because he's entertaining.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Rich Uncle Pennybags. Appreciate it. Hey, we're done for tonight. Ian J and Vincent here, and check out Vincent on his show, Questioning Authority, at Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on LRN.FM. We'll see you tomorrow.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,344. Silver opened at $16.01, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,913. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Michigan may be joining 11 other states that require a criminal conviction before any asset forfeiture. The Detroit Free Press reports that police and prosecutors will be prohibited from seizing cash and property from people accused of a crime until they are convicted on the charges, under a bill passed in the state Senate on Wednesday. The Free Thought Project reports that law enforcement seized more than $13 million in cash from civil asset forfeitures in 2017. Of the 6,662 cases, more than half did not involve someone convicted of a crime. In the report from the Free Thought Project, taking property from people who have been convicted of no crime sounds a lot like legalized robbery. California, Connecticut, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oregon, and Vermont are all states requiring a criminal conviction to strip someone of their rightful property. 3 states, North Carolina, New Mexico, and Nebraska, have abolished civil forfeiture entirely. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. The Pentagon is hoping to make telepathy a part of its arsenal in the near future. Activist Post reports it's the latest program of the Department for Advanced Research Projects Agency, known as DARPA, the Defense Department Research Office tasked with developing breakthrough technologies and innovations for the U.S. Armed Forces. According to Defense One, DARPA is seeking to explore technologies that would link the brains and bodies of troops to a range of military applications through artificial intelligence, equipped neural interfaces that allow troops to control machines with their thoughts alone. In its quest for unquestioned battlefield dominance and the minimization of troop losses, the U.S. military has long been attracted to the potential power that AI may unlock, and has spent billions upon billions of dollars in pursuit of autonomous and semi-automated weapon systems that bring to mind dystopian science fiction films like RoboCop and The Terminator. As the pool of candidates vying for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president continues to grow, so does a sustained and ongoing push to spread lies about them on social media, with one key aim being to sow division among progressive voters. That's according to an alarming political report published Wednesday. Citing analysis by and conversations with data scientists and digital campaign strategists, the outlet reported that researchers and others interviewed say they cannot conclusively point to the actors behind the coordinated activity, and it's unclear if they are rogue hackers, political activists, or, as some contend, foreign state actors such as Russia. One of the objectives of the activity is to divide the left by making the Democratic presidential primary as chaotic and toxic as possible. The anti-media reports that research by the pro-democracy tech firm Guardians.ai found that Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, as well as former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, appear to be the top targets. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, February 20th, 2019, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
U.S. presidents often take credit for solving complex issues with many moving parts, whether they deserve that credit or not. But how much impact can a sitting president really have on the tides? We all know that presidents like to take credit for the undulations of the briny deep, when it suits them, that is, and we Americans are quick to blame whoever is in power for the multitudinous seas. During Eisenhower's administration in the 1950s, citizens took to the streets to protest his inability to harness the unruly waves, but Ike shifted blame for the tides that year onto a heron that had recently been born with a raven's head. But the truth is, when a president is in office, there's only so much he can do. Sure, the president can bring an amulet with the Eye of Horus to the top of the tallest peak, or spread lamb's blood on the base of an elm tree during a lunar eclipse. In reality, it's hard for anyone to know with true certainty how the tides will play out under any administration. For The Onion, I'm Eliza Hayes.
This is the Onion News Network.